You know what's not a fun way to figure out you have like a paper cut or something? Sticking your hand in a bag of dill pickle chips. I cannot describe to you the stinging. The stinging? Hi everyone, how's it going? Hope your weekend's going well. Damn it. Hope everyone's doing good. Let's see what's going on. Mr. Duck Sauce, thanks for a 30 stream streak, says Noise. Terradona with a 35 stream streak, thank you very much. Absolute Disgrace, thanks for 17 months. Puka, thanks for 43 months. And that catches us up. How's everyone doing? We're doing Sovereign Citizens today. We are going early. I have a patron-only stream later, so I wanted to do this first. If you'd like to be a part of that, you can, of course, join the Patreon at patreon.com/HannahReloaded. Any paid member gets access to the live streams, the past ones, and ones while you were a member. So, cool beans. Do that if you'd like. But of course, we'll be doing this today. And that is Sovereign Citizens. We have some returning Sovereign Citizens, a few new ones. So it should be good. Should be a good one. Had fun yesterday. Friend had a birthday party. Had a big board game day with a bunch of people. Got to meet some new people. It was nice. I made myself up all pretty. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And they made delicious mac and cheese and chicken Alfredo. And there were snacks and cookies. It was so fun. So, that was nice. My social batteries are very drained, though. As an introvert, I can only handle so much social interaction. Alden Undying says, Hannah, I hope you're having a lovely day. I have D&D, but I wanted to support you. Also, do you want to see the uniforms I'm designing for Starfleet when they're done? Yes, I would love to see them. So, the first thing we're going to cover is, Glen Serio, who is an auditor. He calls himself, at least, goes around and harasses people with his camera, basically. To be clear, filming the police is great. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think more people should do it. I think the use of body cameras is also incredible and should continue. The only issue is police shouldn't have access to the footage. It should probably be stored somewhere away from them. But anyway, Glen was tried. Or no, he wasn't actually tried. He was arrested, and, you know, he had his legal troubles with some of the stuff he had been doing, harassing, stalking, etc. He got a 2-year suspended sentence or something. He got some sort of suspended sentence, and the suspended sentence is over. So, he now is not under threat of arrest immediately for doing stupid bullshit, so now he's harassing people again. And one of the people he's decided to harass is the city hall and the police department, and he's trying to sue them for arresting him, even though I'm pretty sure he pled on both of those cases. That's why he was able to get a suspended sentence, but he's suing them over it. Let's see him trying to serve them the lawsuits.
I'm coming. 50 million, pig. All right, guys, we're here at the Mukilteo City Hall, and we're going to sue the Mukilteo Police for false arrest. And that happened back in January of 2022. They arrested me for harassment, threat to kill. And we are suing.
Harassment, threat to kill, fun. Was that 2 years ago already? Boy, time sure does fly, doesn't it?
Chief of Police Andy Lynn, Daniel Ball, Jacob Hooger Hyde, Andrew Jones. He's the one who initiated the whole thing. He said I pulled a gun out of my jacket.
He said it looked like you were pulling a gun out of your jacket because you were intentionally, for those who didn't watch when we covered that stuff 2 years ago, can't believe it was that long ago, he intentionally was fucking with the cop and made a motion to make it look like he was pulling a gun out. And I'm like an ACAB person, so you know I'm not the kind of person that's gonna side with the cop. He was literally trying to make it look like he had a gun, like as a joke. He was trying to be like, ho 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 ho, like, a stupid thing to do in front of cops who are already incredibly jumpy and like to shoot people. H-Baird says, technically it's illegal to make a plea bargain if you're innocent of the crime because it's a form of perjury. That's the least fun way to be perjured.
And we're also suing Joe Evans. So let's go see if these guys are gonna take the service request.
I've said this before, other auditors and sovereign citizens have tried to serve, like city halls and mayors and stuff before. Usually cities have an address if you want to serve them. You don't have to physically go to the place. Generally, it's very easy to find. You would just type in, like, city of blank, service address, and you would be able to find it because it's publicly available, because the city is understanding that they're going to be sued, and just to make it more convenient for everyone and easier, they have a specific address that you can send lawsuits to. You do not need to show up. Doesn't make sense to show up. Generally, they're not even supposed to accept it in person. You have to send it to the official service address. So all he's doing is going and harassing the people who happen to work at the city hall this day to try and take a thing that they're not even really supposed to take.
Of all the lawsuits we have here. Did you want to go first? You seem like you're in a hurry.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Should be quick. I have a question about parking. I think I paid for a boat launch and a parking sticker, but because they don't give us the little tags anymore, can you check to make sure that I'm in the system? Okay. All right. So you need a last
What
name?
kind of microphone did Glenn get? Because holy shit. I can hear the whole conversation this guy's having in, like, HD.
License number? Yeah.
I think he listened when other people were like, hey, Glenn, if you're gonna do this, don't get so close to people. Get a shotgun mic or something. I think he did. Because I can, like, you can hear this guy's conversation really well.
Yep. I'm pretty sure I paid for both of those, but without the plastic thing hanging, I can't remember. Yeah. See what you got, okay? Yep.
Oh god, you can hear Glenn's breathing so clearly because of the mic, too. Just the... You actually probably couldn't hear that. I think my noise gate picked that up, which is good. It was a gross noise.
Heckendorf, Heckendor.
Hey, Lilac, how's it going?
First name Donald. Donald? Yep.
The deep, creepy breathing, like Black Christmas. That's the smile. That's the smile of someone who just realized they're on camera and doesn't like it, but feels the need socially to be like, I'm okay with this. There it is. There's the fake smile of I don't want to be on camera, but I already am, and I'm not gonna make a scene. Poor guy. I'm probably worse for emphasizing that, but I don't know. Little social interactions like that go unsaid fascinate me. I feel the need to talk about them because I love them.
What is your address? 9729 49th Place West. Mucklefield.
Oh, there you are. Okay, so it says that you did that on...
Public Works Director?
Oh,
Hello, Public Works Director. He looks like a Public Works Director. I don't say that as a negative. He looks like a dude that'd be cool to chill with. I think it's the beard. The comforting beard. Does that make sense?
someone else works.
What did I think of the Doctor Who finale? I enjoyed it. There was some logic that made me go like, uh-huh, okay, but it's Doctor Who, so that's not exactly a new thing. I enjoyed it. The one plot I don't want to spoil, so I won't say. There was one plot thing that I was like, that's a stretch, even by Russell T Davies standards, but whatever. I enjoyed it. I'm excited for the next season. Profane Priestess says, you shouldn't film people without their consent. In some places it's illegal, and I'd argue it's almost always extremely impolite. I'd agree. At minimum, it's incredibly rude.
In the office over here.
Well, who are you looking for?
Anyone in City Hall that's not Public Works.
You don't want the public.
No, sorry about that. I don't need
See? I called it!
maintenance, sorry.
I work.
Sanzine, thank you for 35 stream streak, says, thanks for the great streams, Hannah. They really helped me manage my anxiety. Everyone, remember to hydrate and take any meds you forgot about. Oh my goodness, I need my meds! I'll go get those in a sec.
Work here, but
Thank you for the reminder.
anyway, what can I?
And I'm glad that my streams have helped you in any kind of way.
Discussed that with them, yeah.
Well, I work here. I can help you.
Yeah, I don't need maintenance. I'm sorry, man. If there's a
He didn't say he was maintenance.
pipe, I'll let you know, but I'm sorry.
Oh my god, Glenn is such an asshole and so condescending to everyone. He's in charge of public works and you're like, I don't need a maintenance man. If there's a broken pipe, I'll call you.
Are you looking for planning or executive or? I'm just trying to get you to the right people.
Let's do it with the executive, yeah.
Like what? So I can tell them what you're looking for.
Management.
Best Demon, thank you for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Glenn would like to speak to your manager.
I'm management.
Not
Okay,
that
so
type of management.
Okay, you gotta be more specific then. I'm gonna go grab my meds. I'll be back in just a sec. I'll be quick. I've returned with my hormones. Not just the ones in my body, the ones out of it that I need to put in.
I'm just trying to tell them what you need.
Fumble Homestead, thanks for 50 months, says, I think this subscription is entering kindergarten this year. That's incredible. I am so thankful to everyone who has been a subscriber for so long, and has supported the stream. I couldn't do it without you guys, seriously.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and let them know. Just let them come out here.
Oh yeah, Trey, that's like a... Well, is that not just with phone calls when we're talking one or... No, you're right. 2-party consent states include, like, conversations, too. Huh. I didn't even think about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's just. I'm the one that's down here, so I was just trying to.
That explains why you're always so hormonal drum riff. Oh, you have no idea.
I'm just trying to help you see.
There's a lady upstairs that comes down and she...
The clerk?
I don't think she's a clerk. I think she's the head person, but
Leslie? Who is it that you?
I don't remember the names.
Okay. I'm just trying to help you because they can't. I don't know. I can help you if you need.
I don't know how you can help me. I don't need anything to do with
Okay.
maintenance. You know what I mean?
Glenn is such a dick. This guy literally came out to try and help him, and Glenn felt the need to be adversarial. No need. Robert Procagam, thanks for 11 months of membership on YouTube. Says, almost a year of YouTube membership. I really, really appreciate it.
Can launch with one thing,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's fine, but I can just get you pointed in the right direction too. So.
No, if you want to go ahead and get manager or like someone within the clerk's office for City Hall, not...
What issue are you looking for?
I'll let them know. I'll talk to them about it.
So you want the clerk?
Whoever's above...
Literally, Glenn, you can just tell him you're gonna serve a lawsuit, and then he can tell you, like, the address that you're supposed to take it to. Whatever.
of the clerk.
Okay. And just make
The
sure.
City
the
Hall
mayor?
manager, the City Hall executive, the City Hall...
Like the city administrator or the mayor or what?
Okay, administrator.
Most of you know this, but I have to hold these under my tongue for like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm gonna be talking weird for a little bit. I'm sorry.
And what issue you want with him?
H-Beard said Glenn is making a big mistake. If Glenn is good, this guy will bring him toys at Christmas. Oh.
Let them know.
But he may not be available right now. So
Well, then someone else will have to be available.
that
so.
would be me. I'm usually the field.
I don't know what Public Works has to do with City Hall. I'm trying to, I don't, usually Public Works has to do with like electrical, plumbing, paving. That doesn't have anything to do with like clerical, paperwork, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I fill in for the city administrator, so I can go check see if he's here.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just trying to figure out what you're looking
anybody but you.
I don't understand why Glenn thinks he knows this guy's job responsibilities better than he does. Like, he's offering help. He clearly has some ability to help you.
How about that?
for. How about Joe? You want Joe?
Okay, let's do that.
I just was trying to get something to.
I know, but it's
issue
pointless. I'm going to tell you what I need, and you can't help because you're Public Works. You understand what Public Works is, right?
I'm the public works director.
So you,
I know, but I'm also it's a small city, so I do a lot of stuff here.
right? But
So.
I mean, technicalities are technicalities, and
He's such an asshole.
so
All right.
yep.
Sorry, I can't help you more.
I wish you could too, man.
I'm here to help. So.
Yeah.
Have you met with somebody else, somebody previously?
Your blonde girl upstairs.
What's a good, oh, you got your phone number here.
Here's bag. Best Demons 200 bits says I work for Public Works and we get a lot of people like him. That's a shame.
Parking?
Hello.
So this is Asa, our city clerk.
You're the city clerk. Are you like the head person here or what?
I'm the city clerk.
City clerk.
You had mentioned the clerk, so
Well, I'm trying to see who's like the executive or director or who's in charge.
we have the mayor, the city administrator, and myself.
So the mayor's beyond, right? That's like we're going too far, right? So like there's management, right?
Correct.
There's people that oversee the clerks. Who's that person?
That would be the city administrator.
Where's that person?
He's here working. Is that who you want to talk to?
Sure.
Can I make an appointment with him?
No,
Or
I need
what
to
are-
speak to him now.
You do-
No! I refuse an appointment! Me see no!
you
What's
speak
it
to him. What's it
regarding?
regarding?
I'll tell them.
He's so, like, does Glenn not understand that, like, is this guy gonna shoot him? Like, does Glenn genuinely not understand that he's coming off like a psycho who's gonna murder someone? Perfect Priestess says, this guy is like, what are you looking for? I'll call someone for you or point you in the right place. And Glenn is just throwing a temper tantrum. Why not just let the guy help you? He's just obstinate for the sake of it? Yeah, he's that obstinate. He just wants to be in control and be a dick at all times.
Well, I need to let him give some idea of what he's getting into,
There's
so he can know what he's going to talk
Yeah, I
about.
had spoken with you before, I think on a trespass matter with police. Is that what it's regarding?
no, something similar, but that has nothing to do with this building.
Okay.
So it's regarding this building?
No, she's talking about a trespass.
Okay.
That's from the Muckfield Police Station.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with City Hall.
Okay. What is it? The administrator's gonna want to know what it's regarding.
I can let them know. I have a
No! That's not an
Okay, well, why don't you take a seat
option!
in the room and I'll go get him.
I'll sit right here. Yeah.
Stay right there?
Yep.
Perfect.
What a douche.
Okay.
You'll have a second link and the link will be for.
I want to know so badly what they told him. Like, there's a weird guy downstairs, and he would like to talk with you.
This is Steve Powers,
Hi,
city
how's it going?
administrator.
Hi, I'm Steve Powers.
Nice to meet you.
Your name?
I'm Glenn.
Glenn. All right.
I'm just here regarding. I'm gonna step back a little bit so I can. So like I've had some issues with the Muckfield Police,
It's the same.
and they've kind of like made a lot of stories up, and
Just tell him you're being served. This isn't the appropriate way, but at least get to the point. He doesn't care about the story.
done some stuff. So he's gonna hand you some papers. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you've been served. on their behalf. So I'm suing 5 police officers with the Montclair Police Station. So this is a civil suit.
Can I interrupt for just one
Go
second?
for it.
You need to serve me.
The only person who's allowed
You've already accepted service. You've already accepted service. He's a process server.
Just hang on just a second, please. The only person in our organization who's allowed to accept service is the clerk. So I'm not actually allowed to accept service.
He's
So
not.
all I want to do is just make sure that you do it correctly so we don't have a procedural
Okay.
problem.
So-
all right. So how about we do that all over again?
Go ahead. Don't take it. Don't take it.
Okay, well then,
You haven't.
Literally, they're not even saying we're not going to accept it. They are just saying, can you hand it to her instead? This is like the least issue ever. This is less pushback than I thought he was going to get, because usually they're like, hey, we have an official box for this. All he is saying is the only person allowed to accept it is her. The person standing literally right next to me, so just hand it to her, is all that he's being asked. And he's gonna make a shit fit about it, I guarantee it. Nerdy, thanks for 9 months, says, I'm not sure how much of this I can watch. Got Green Day to watch later, well on TV, cause fuck spending £250 on a festival ticket. But couldn't resist a bit of Sobsit nonsense first. Well, I appreciate your time. That's a sub-baby, too. This sub-baby's name is going to be American Idiot. There you go.
The clerk is.
If you want to accept it from him, that's fine, but I'm not going to play your game. I know how this works.
They're literally just asking you to hand it to her instead. It'd take 3 seconds.
I've studied law.
To serve me.
Listen, I know you want to pretend to be a lawyer. That's great.
The irony!
And Dandy, that's fine and dandy. The court is going to see my way. Trust me. All he has to do is fill out the form, and that's it. So I'm letting you know I'm suing the 5 police officers, including the chief of police. Okay, so next I'm filing a federal lawsuit for $50 million, and I'm going to sue the city of Mukilteo. Do you want to know why, or do you not care?
no, I'm happy to listen.
So they,
But how about you do me the courtesy of giving me your last name, Glenn?
sure, Glen Serio.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's on there, by the way.
But I just thought, since we're going to be cordial to each other,
Right.
it would be nice for you to share your last name.
No, that's fine.
Like I shared mine.
So
H-Bird says, for those who've never had government jobs, it's important to understand that bureaucracy can be your enemy or it can be your friend. This city manager has made it his friend. Exo Deadlock, thanks for a 6-month streak, says, projection.
Mukilteo police made up a charge, said threat to kill, harassment, threat to kill. Jones said that I pulled the gun on him when I waved at him. So there's a lot of video evidence, there's pictures.
There is video evidence of him clearly trying to mimic grabbing a firearm.
Body cams.
I would
so,
agree with that.
There's a lot of evidence that's going to prove that this is all fictitious and made up. The charge is dropped, but that's not the point. The point is that these guys tried to eliminate me.
The charge was not dropped. He pled, and the sentence was suspended. So he went through a 2-year period of a suspended sentence, and he is, acting as though he completely beat the charge. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
These guys tried to give you 5 years in prison. So because of that, the city's going to pay for what they've done, their mistakes. They need to pick up for what they've done. So I'm not your average citizen. I don't just go around and oh, they charged me, walk away. No. They have to pay
I'm not your average citizen. I'm much sillier.
for the mistakes, and they have to go to prison for what they've done. They committed perjury. So when they signed that statement, they perjured themselves. So if you read that statement on their statements they sign, they are held under oath. So they are liable for what they've done.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Anything else I can help you with?
That's
today?
it.
All right. Again, service was not done correctly from our perspective. I just want to make sure that you understand that. That again, under our code, the clerk is the only person authorized within the city to accept service.
If you believe that, and if you think the court's going to agree with you, all well to you. I
I don't even pretend to be an attorney. I'm just telling you. I do understand our code. I'm just telling you how I know it operates. But
I would love.
I'm just sharing that information with
Would you be able to present that code, or?
Yeah, I can pull it.
you.
Yeah. Sure.
We'd happily do that for you. Yeah.
It's kind of funny how she's going around she'd rather print the code than just take the papers. It doesn't matter.
Literally, they're saying, give her the papers, Glenn. Does he even understand what's happening? You're just trying not to take the papers. They're trying to get you to hand her the papers. Does he even understand what's happening?
Let's just see. No, if you want to play a game, that's fine. That just makes you look like a fool, not me.
What is he doing?
Let's not resort to name calling.
Well, that's not name calling.
It's just for me to check up on things.
I didn't call her any.
What we were trying to do.
Was it derogatory?
What we were trying to
Was it derogatory? Thank you, it wasn't.
What we were trying to do is to make sure that it was done correctly for your benefit. That's all.
I'm not worried because I've done this multiple times.
Very good.
So I'm not really worried
I
about.
feel like I've met my obligation to inform you what I think our code says. We'll happily provide you a copy of it.
So I shouldn't.
Amber says, people in the government have specific jobs on behalf of specific organizations within the government. If it's not the administrator's job to accept the paperwork, then giving it to him rather than the appropriate person may not even count as serving. It seems silly, and it kind of is, but laws are complicated for a reason. It helps keeps things organized, and a good lawyer is just as good as exploiting legal idiosyncrasies as they are making an argument or doing legal research. Yeah, Glenn's cutting off his nose to spite his face here. Even then, I don't think this is gonna go anywhere, but, like, he's throwing roadblocks in his own way just so he can yell at people. I think on some level he knows these lawsuits aren't gonna go anywhere, but he sees them as an opportunity to make content and harass people to make himself feel powerful. So I think that's more the goal here, rather than an actual successful lawsuit. I think he wants a veneer of a reason to fuck with people.
Wait for her. Or,
Your choice.
Okay.
If you'd like to have a copy of
No,
it,
I'd love to.
we'd love to.
I'd love to see it.
Sure.
I'd love to see it.
Thanks, Matt. You can go back to work. And we'll get you that copy in just a moment.
Perfect.
It's ready to go, so you got it.
Real quick, FYI. So the officers have to be present in court. No paralegals or attorneys can go on their behalf. It is against the court rules. If you read that packet, you'll understand it more clearly.
I'm going to rely on our city attorney to make sure all the rules are followed appropriately.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, because as you might expect, I won't take your opinion on it just right.
No, the packet's there. You can read it. I wouldn't.
The
yeah.
packet's there,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, thank you.
Right back there looking at us.
Thank you for letting me know first.
Yeah, no problem. I figured you seem like you were in a hurry, so.
I thought it would be quicker, but it took a while.
Right.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Stand there, ominous breathing and filming them for another 5 minutes or so. He still stays and oh my god, does he like follow the guy? No, okay. Just keeps filming like a weirdo. Jeesh. Why does he do this? I really wish he wouldn't. Well, that's the first people he served. Here's him serving the mayor and the chief of police, because he did both of them.
What's up, guys? We're here in Edmonds, Washington at the Edmonds City Hall. And we are gonna serve either the director or management the paperwork for the lawsuit for Andy Mel when he tried to have me arrested for shoplifting at Safeway when I wasn't at Safeway. He said I was wearing a gray Seahawks sweatshirt and a white beanie, but I was actually wearing a suit that day. So we are gonna sue the Edmonds police and we're gonna serve City Hall. So let's see if these guys accept the lawsuit.
Know what he's trying to do other than attention? I don't know.
How's it going? Would I be able to speak to like the director or the administrator of the City Hall?
I can get you the city clerk, perhaps?
How about the administrator or the, like the executive person?
Well, I don't think I can get you the mayor because he's in a meeting.
Not the mayor, the person who runs this facility.
Well, are you talking about the facilities director?
Sure.
The physical structures? He's not in this building.
Not the mate.
I feel like Glenn doesn't really understand how organizations are structured because he keeps asking for, like, the manager or the head person. Not only, like, governments, but, like, even private companies at, like, the level of, like, a building like this don't often just have, like, a head person. There might be a regional manager or something, but, like, there can be people in charge of different departments that are co-equal in their theoretical, like, place in the hierarchy of the organization, but have different purviews. I don't think he understands that. I think he literally thinks it's just a line where, like, you have a boss, and that person has a boss, and that person has a boss. He doesn't understand that it's broader than that, and they're like, there might be someone in charge of the legal department, there's someone in charge of personnel, there's someone in charge of day-to-day, like, there's probably not one guy other than, like, the mayor, but you're not talking to the mayor, so you need to find someone who pertains to your specific thing.
This guy. The guy that oversees this building and the clerks.
I am going to call the city clerk.
Okay.
Hi, you're still here? Okay, there is a gentleman here who would like to speak to the
A
person
gentleman. That's quite generous.
who is in charge of this building. And aside from the mayor, I'm guessing.
Polly has his cracker. I'll have you know, I'm sticking the other hand in the bag of chips. This is the hand with the cut. I have not stuck it back in the bag of chips. why we have two hands for this exact situation.
That's you. It appears that he has
I was like the director or administrator.
a director, an administrator. What is it that you need with your camera here, sir?
I'll let him know.
Just have a concern I want
What kind of
to address.
concern?
I'll let them know when they come down.
Can you help me out here? I don't know who else to ask, honestly. Okay, he's in a meeting with, who's chief and the other folks? In the
Oops, are you waiting? I was just gonna say.
Go ahead. Yeah.
is out sick today.
Director of what? I think he doesn't even know. He just wants someone he can yell at. He wants someone he can be mad at.
I need to talk to this lady who thinks she's gonna go upstairs because they're closed.
Oh.
What percentage of government officials' day, when you just work in a building like this, in like an administration building, what percentage of your day is dealing with unhinged people who have no concept of reality? Feels like it's gotta happen at least 3 or 4 times a week that someone comes in who just, like, has some weird thing they feel strongly about. German Cow with a 50 stream streak says, "What's poppin', my goblins?" Not much. Thanks for the 50 streams.
Okay.
Aaliyah says, "Everyone who has to deal with him should be sent a fruit basket as compensation for the aggravation." True.
There is.
There should be cheese baskets. Fruit baskets. Nice. Cheese baskets. Epic.
No one available at the drop of a hat right now. He said if you wanted to meet with somebody, you should make an appointment. I can give you the card to make an appointment with the
I don't even understand. He could have made an appointment. He could have made a phone call and been like, hey, is there someone I can talk to at such and such time? But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to show up and annoy everyone and pull them out of whatever they're doing and feel important.
I mean, there has to be someone in this building I can speak with. I mean, we can't just...
Have you speak to a police officer if you are...
I don't know how that's going to help.
Insistent. Right now, there is no one available for you. There are no director level people available right now.
Okay.
That was actually a quite funny retort. We can have you talk to a police officer.
You a card that you can make an appointment with the mayor.
Yeah, I guess if you want to call the sergeant.
There are cheese trays? No trays. I want a basket.
Down here.
I want it in a basket.
Or lieutenant down here. We'll
What's
do that.
in the basket? Delicious cheeses. And my brother Belial.
You don't want to make an appointment with?
No, I'm here now, and there's people working here, and I don't see why they can't come down from their office and assist me. On the water company,
I just need timeout from you guys.
Oh, okay.
I can transfer you there. Hi there. How are you?
Oh no, one of the officers is a woman. Glenn is so sexist and shitty to women, especially women cops. Holy fuck, this is gonna be... He might behave himself slightly better than last time, since last time resulted in an arrest. We'll see.
How's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Did they intentionally find one of the cops here who happened to be a woman? Because that would be hilarious if they're like, this guy fucking hates lady cops. Does anyone here? Any of you ladies want to come make this guy mad?
What can I do for you?
Well, who are you?
I'm the mayor.
Oh, you're the mayor, wow.
Oh my god, he got the fucking mayor? He got the mayor? And he didn't even recognize him? That's kind of funny. Who are you? I'm the mayor? You asked for the person in charge. Here I am!
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
I'm
Mike Rosen.
He looks like a mayor. Yeah.
Glenn.
Hey, Glenn.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Glenn.
to see
Michelle
ya.
Bennett.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to
Are
meet
you
you.
guys together?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got this the other day. You want to give it to them?
What is this?
So you've been served. I'm suing Andy Mel.
Again, probably a similar issue. You probably don't serve the mayor directly.
Because he falsely accused me of shoplifting at Safeway.
Okay.
So service has been provided.
Okay.
So,
Understood.
Appreciate it.
yeah, just wanted to do that and let you guys know.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so if
Okay.
there's anything you need,
No, we have this.
And I assume your contact information is here.
yeah, everything's there. Everything's there. And so I just want to make it clear that
Does he just hope that they're gonna call and offer him money to drop the lawsuit, even though the lawsuit's frivolous and wouldn't go anywhere?
I'm not a criminal. I don't commit
Because that could also be a potential, like, motive, is him just hoping to get, like, a couple $1,000s or something to shut up.
crimes, but some reason the police have me on their list where I'm this big bad criminal wolf, and so I have to start taking action now. And this is the first beginning, right? Like, so this is just a civil lawsuit, but next
Yes?
is a federal. Okay. So I am gonna sue him for $50 million, and unfortunately,
I don't... Civil versus federal. You can have a civil federal lawsuit, whatever.
he works for the city of Edmonds, so you guys have to pay that when I win the. So just saying. So
Well, we appreciate you coming in person and letting
yeah,
us
I
know.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And just the way you're having the conversation, we do appreciate
Yeah,
it.
first time I met the mayor somewhere.
Well,
Cool.
I'll shake your hand.
Yeah, you have a good one.
Thank you.
We aim
Hi.
for service, for
Mike
sure.
Rosen.
Cool.
Thank you for coming.
Are you like a sergeant or?
I'm the police chief.
Okay. Oh wow.
All right.
You got the top of the.
Yeah,
Cool.
there you go.
Got the
It's a little funny that Glenn hates women and women cops in particular, and the chief of police for this town happens to be a woman. It's a little funny.
top of the heap.
Nice.
The mayor's diplomatic. You have to be. You have to be a politician
Serve the city.
most of the time.
So question, there was actually another officer involved. Does he still work for you? It's Tian Nguyen. Also goes by Liam.
He does not.
Okay. Do you know where he's at?
That was the guy that Glenn was racist towards. The Asian gentleman who was a former coworker of Glenn's.
He resigned.
Do you know where he's working now or how I could locate
I
him?
do not believe you.
Do you know where he's working or how I can locate him?
Because I was gonna file, but since he's no longer with you guys, I don't know exactly if you're still responsible for what. I think you are, but I'm gonna wait and discuss it more with my lawyer because I don't want to make a mistake with this because obviously.
He's no longer with the city.
Okay. So there's no way you know how to locate him, or
I would have no way of.
okay.
I don't know of a way of locating.
Yeah, when former.
I mean,
employee.
like, isn't he like another agency he went to?
That was not
when he left, no, that was not the design. I don't know what he's doing right now. He's left the agency.
Yeah, but usually they transfer to other agencies.
Sometimes they just don't continue on.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Perfect.
because I think she's waiting until you're not filming to come down.
Oh, got you. All right, you guys have a good one. Yep.
Thanks for coming down.
No problem.
All right, take care.
Yep.
We'll keep on top of that situation, and I'll let you know if he serves more people or whatever. Seems like it's not going to go very well for him, but whatever. Glen's going to do what Glen does, and it is what it is. All right, let's get a traffic stop video. Classic Sovsit traffic stop.
Hello, Spring. Stop is right behind me.
Lighting a cigarette, just as the cop.
You got a license plate on it. No, that's state law. Your ID and registration. I don't carry registration.
He doesn't carry a registration. Well, that's illegal.
No plates. Is the vehicle not registered? No.
And no plates. No plates, no registration.
No, I'm not required. Again, that's state law. I'll be right back with you.
That is state law, and you are in the state.
Sir. So we'll see how they do it.
We'll see.
Vehicle off, step out for me. He's asked me to shut the vehicle off and step out for him. I don't want to. Well, you're gonna have... I don't want to.
A good response. I need you to step out of the vehicle. I don't want to?
Well, you're gonna have to. Why? I'm giving you a direct. What crime have I committed?
You're driving without a plate, without registration, I presume without insurance, probably without a license. There's some stuff just to start off.
Can you get a supervisor?
I am a supervisor.
Okay.
Okay, your vehicle is not registered and there's no insurance, so we're going to impound the vehicle.
You have no right to do that. That would be theft, sir. I have a right to secure my property. This is private property. You have no lien against it.
And you have no right to have this vehicle on the road.
I most certainly do. Do you know your Constitution, sir?
Yes,
I have a right to travel upon the land in my own personal private conveyance.
Nowhere in the Constitution does it say anything about your personal private conveyance. What are you talking about? You have a right to travel. That means that you can travel unimpeded between the states within the 50 states. So, for instance, there won't be, like, some sort of, passport checkpoint between, Michigan and Ohio, for instance. But if you want to operate a motor vehicle on public roadways, that isn't just traveling. That's operating a motor vehicle on public roadways, and that's a separate issue. You can travel. That doesn't mean you have a right to specific means of travel. It doesn't mean you can get in an airplane and fly it without a license.
You have no third-party interest in this. This is my third-party conveyance, and I have shown no other... Did you get that, Tony?
Get that, Tony? This is my buddy, Tony Baloney. He films all my Sobsit videos for me.
Well, I'm going to need someone to come bail me out of jail. They're going to take me to jail.
I wish I could hear the other end of the phone.
My phone is in my...
Should have put it on speakerphone. He's talking to like a sovereign citizen guru. There are people who are sovereign citizens that will charge people money in order to teach them this nonsense.
My car, and it is recording. My other phone, it is in the car and it is recording.
Cheese basket, Hannah. We know this is more your style. And then there's a link. Cheese titties? What makes them titties? Black's Law Dictionary request. What do you want me to look up, Rick M?
You gonna be able to help me out and get me bailed out?
Hydrate. I put that law book. There it is.
Hold on a second. This is your last chance to get out of the vehicle.
I'm not going to do it, sir. I have a right to secure my person and my property.
If I've got to force you out of that vehicle, you're going to jail.
I understand that, and I'm going to let you violate my rights because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not putting up a fight. This is all on camera.
I understand that, but we're going to impound the vehicle. You have no registration. You have no insurance.
Still got to tell me what to look up, Rick M.
And that's a state law. You cannot override my constitutional right to travel upon the land in my own personal conveyance. And it has already been upheld in the higher courts. It has already been upheld in the higher courts. You cannot infringe upon that right by requiring of licensing, registration fees, or anything. Right. They're again trying to make me open the door. There's another squad car, another black one pulled up, and now we've got 4 officers around my vehicle.
Rick M still hasn't given me a thing, so if I don't have one in the next minute or so, I'm just going to look up something random.
I'm taking my keys out so you don't have to worry. I'm not going to run. I just turned the truck off and turned the keys out, or turned the truck off and took the keys out.
I don't know why they roll up the window. It just makes it more likely. Page 42,
I'm gonna put the keys back in so I can roll the window down.
I like when people do that. It's kind of nice. Just random. Page 42, definition 3. Oh, no. Well, no. You have picked up, I swear, this is the third. Age of consent. Age at which persons may marry without parental approval. Age at which a female is... Age at which a female is legally capable of agreeing to sexual intercourse? Oh, that's unfortunate. This is the 6th edition. This is the 6th edition, which is from quite a while ago, so apparently there was no... they didn't include men in the age of consent definition? Oh god, that's horrifying. Age at which a female is legally capable of agreeing to sexual intercourse and below which age the male commits statutory rape if he has sexual intercourse with her. Oh, that's pretty yikes that they have that only flow one way. Oh boy. Well, you picked an interesting one today. Jesus Christ. Sorry, male victims. Apparently the law didn't consider you legitimate until more recently. That's fucking dog shit. Oh.
Going on accessory. Yeah, it is not stolen. You can check with Nate Herman of Nate's Auto in Waterloo. That's who I bought it from.
By the way, the 6th edition, I believe, is from the 90s. This isn't one from the 30s. This was like 30 years ago.
And another one just pulled up. So that makes 4 squad cars and at least 5 people.
sir, we're trying to do this in an amicable way.
And if you were upholding, if you took an oath to uphold the Constitution.
That's right.
That's right. And what did you do? Did you swear on the Bible to do that?
One of it, what I swore is also is to enforce state law, which is what I'm trying to do.
Okay, but at the same time that you took an oath to uphold the Constitution, do you know the Constitution cannot be overridden by your lower courts? Do you understand the state court is a lower court? That's right. You're not. I'm not gonna argue with them. That's right.
It wants more police, gets annoyed by more police. Yeah, they're hoping that by asking for more, they'll just give up, I think.
And I imagine this guy's the muscle. He again tried to unlock or open my door. He just threatened to break his way in. That's breaking and entering. When they impound my vehicle, that's theft, grand theft auto. Now somebody's in the back. He's doing something with the tag. My plates, I guess.
If they're sovereign citizen plates, they're probably taking them as evidence.
I bought it from Nate Herman, from Nate's Auto.
Nate Herman from Nate's Auto.
1823 Commercial Street, I believe. I've got his number if you'd like.
That guy's gonna get in trouble if he sold him this car without, like, insurance and registration and stuff dealt with. That's not supposed to do that. Generally, it's a situation with sovereign citizens where they have it registered and stuff when they purchase it, and then they'll just let it lapse. But if, I don't know if this guy bought it from a sketchy person who just, like, from a dealer that let him have it without any of the required stuff.
1821. They just asked about Nate Herman's Auto, who I bought the vehicle from. I already offered that information. They said it didn't matter. Now he's asking for information on it.
I am officially out of delicious salty dill pickle chips. Someone send salt. Trans girl in need of all the salt. Thank you, H. Baird. Your virtual salt is appreciated. We're gonna get a window smash on this one.
Between the seats. And they clearly see that I'm putting it in my pocket. His baton out, he's going to break the window. Everything they're threatening to do, they are not allowed to do. What he wants to do is break and enter first. Then he wants to kidnap me, imprison me, and then hold me for ransom. And in the meantime, hold my vehicle for ransom.
Phoenix, you caught me. But please, just a little. I won't drain all the salt, just enough to survive.
Ransom. My property, my personal private property. You told me that before, and I told you I'm not going to change anything I say. You just said, are you ready? He's breaking a back window so they can reach in and taser me.
Oh, damn. They broke the back window. We don't get to see it.
They just broke my back passenger window. Okay, Before there's any violence, let me get out.
I never understand why they agree to get out as soon as it escalates to this point. But it was inevitable that it was going to escalate to this point, like, way earlier. So why didn't he just get out when they asked, and then he wouldn't have to pay for a window? I don't understand. It's like they just want a broken window. It's so frustrating.
Go ahead and get out.
Step out now.
Step out now.
Step out now or you will be tased. Get out of the vehicle now.
Hands going behind my back. Let me put my phone down.
Phone down. Go.
Okay, good. At least the cops didn't. I see so many cops that are like, at least they were like, okay, put the phone down and we'll... I think that was a fair amount of... Even calling it force feels a little weird. They got him out of the car without unnecessarily smashing him to the ground for no reason, which I appreciate. It's sad that that's the bar, but it is.
Mark 1 custody.
There goes another one. All right, next we have an update on the last SovSit watch. We had the sovereign citizen who's been around a few times, was arrested again for alleged domestic abuse, had an interaction with the arraignment judge that didn't go very well. He was obstinate, was very upset, did the typical sovereign citizen stuff, wants to be pro se, claims the court doesn't have jurisdiction over him, claiming his wife was lying about the abuse, etc. So, here's his next court appearance.
This is Martin.
I guess I said wife. I don't know if it's wife. His partner, whoever it is who lives in the house with him, wife, girlfriend, husband, boyfriend, whatever. No, he used she, her pronouns. Wife or girlfriend.
Jeffrey Fanto, Your Honor. Mr. Martin, can you ask the deputy to unmute?
I have the Langren. It's a good clip.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Eric Martin, camera 1.
All right.
I'm the defendant, Eric Martin. I'm the living.
This is case.
That's Eric Martin.
This is case 231510. People of the City of Taylor versus
Are we
Eric.
gonna watch the BBBY film they're making? Absolutely. If it actually gets made, yes.
Martin.
And Jeffrey Fanto, the court asked me to verify that Mr. Martin would be presenting himself
Funny Ash.
without the assistance of attorney. That appears to be his position, Judge.
All right. So, Mr. Martin, you are waiving the House Counsel.
Yes, due to, so I'm not fraudulently assumed to be the defendant, a living man, not the legal fiction corporate entity defendant, which I couldn't possibly be. I know due to canon law being, unfair.
Canon law. That's like law of the Catholic Church, for those who don't know. Canon law is the law of the Catholic Church. So it appears that this sovereign citizen is one of the ones that believe that the ultimate power behind, the structures of the world that they don't like is the Catholic Church. Sometimes it's the post office. Sometimes it's the Catholic Church. Apparently, he's one of the people that thinks it's the Catholic Church. Very early stream today. Yeah, I have a patron-only stream later, so I wanted to get the regular stream done first.
It's gonna, you guys fraudulently assume that if I take an attorney, so that's the unfairness why I can't accept attorney because of that.
Sure. All right. And you understand all of your constitutional rights?
I do my best to. I've been studying, practicing law 28 years.
All right.
Sovereign citizen stuff, not actually. He's not been to law school.
That's all right. So looks like this is ready to be set for a jury trial. Is that right?
Yeah, but I wanted jury trial of my peers means of the sovereign people, not U.S. citizen slaves who most probably everyone of the jury probably say they are. So
So he is claiming that in order to have a jury of his peers, all his peers in the jury would have to be sovereign citizens. He's literally saying, you need to make a jury of sovereign citizens or else it's not fair to put me on trial, which is untrue. That's not how any of this works. You don't get to specifically pick the ideological makeup of your jury. That's not how any of this works.
I won't begin to jury my peers if I don't get.
Well,
gavel, Hannah.
As the individual who
I have a gavel. I just gotta see where I put it.
determines questions of law, that's me. I will make sure that it is a jury of your peers.
I actually have two gavels. This one is my Freemason gavel, and I have another one.
So, and I'll determine that. So we will have this set, and then I'll mail out the date for the jury trial.
I believe there is a date set for next Tuesday for the jury trial in this matter.
All righty, I see that.
I have objections.
Mr. Miyagi taught me the secrets of the drum. H-Baird says maybe he was thinking of this canon law.
I'm going to canonize you.
I can see my house!
Probably prepare.
Hey, Mr. Duck Sauce, how's it going?
For trial in this jail. I've been illegally denied my constitutional right to a personal bond, even though it's my
woman with the Freemason gavel. The Masons have gone woke. I believe the Masons rule is actually now that if you joined and then transitioned, you get to remain a member. So technically, I could have joined the Freemasons before transitioned and still be one.
My constitution.
Not the case, but it's technically possible.
Because it's part of my right to be innocent before guilty.
There is also the Order of the Northern Star, I think it's called, which I think is the women version of Freemason.
Been denied so far. I have no money to pay for a bond to get out of here. So that's especially why I also should be given a personal bond. And like I said, I can probably prepare for one in here. You know?
So you're in there for a different matter, because I set your bond at $100 personal before on this matter. So it's whatever's keeping you in jail isn't this case. So we'll see it. I understand though that you do need to prepare for trial. I get that part. So we'll go ahead and adjourn the jury trial.
Wouldn't I rather be a moose? I did hear that it's a lovely club, both for adults and families.
When is your out date? With whatever you're doing there.
There is no out date. That's the thing. It's So is this about the moped case?
Yeah, this is driving on driving while your license is.
I wasn't sure. Right, they got me.
This was his other case. Okay, so he is already in jail over the DV stuff being held with either with a bond I don't think he can afford, and this is a court case that's separate, but he's being seen because he was already in jail.
I'm fine right now in the domestic violence. No evidence at all. She lied, made a statement, so now
hold on, Mr. Martin.
He's talking about his domestic violence case when this case is about driving without a license. Very different.
Mr. Martin, hold on.
I know there's a Sovereign Citizen short film. Is this the Meet Your Straw Man? Because I've seen this and we've covered it on stream if it's the Meet Your Straw Man thing. Oh, no! I've not seen that. We'll watch that next. Thank you.
Even though this is a different court and that's not my case, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I just want to advise you of your Fifth Amendment right again. And so I suggest not bringing up the other case. This case here is on the moped and the driving on a suspended license, or a revoked license.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is you need time to prepare on that one. I don't know what the situation or status is of the domestic violence case, but you said that you're on bond. You haven't posted your bond on that case. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not even sure. I think the judge said a monetary bond. I wasn't sure because she unprofessionally drew the thing away from, you want to call it this, the remote Zoom thing away from the door before I could read the hearer. But it sounded like she told the police officer $2,000, but I'm not even
$2,000 bond. I believe.
sure. I got no money to pay a bond, no way, even if it's $1. So right, because they illegally denied my personal bond, this is why I'm still in here. So, but yeah. So
all right. So what I'll do is, I don't know when that case is next. The next day is that it's a state case. Ms. Van Reno, you don't have that case, right?
I don't
so
know
it must be
anything
a state. All right, and so it must be a state case, which means it's on a Monday. So that's probably going to be resolved within a month. So let me go ahead and set this for jury trial. No, there will be no need to set it for a settlement conference before that. But let's get everything.
I won't catch up. I was going to object before you guys don't give me a chance to talk. Object to like it should be. I moved that to be stayed. This moped case till I get out of prison. I mean, till I get out of jail here. I can prepare myself. I can probably prepare myself.
Right, that's right. Listen,
didn't he literally just say that he's going to set it out at least more than a month because that's how long it'll take for your current case? Like, were you listening? I think that's what the judge said. Not that it stayed, but he is like setting it later.
My legal authorities are nothing.
It's being set for a jury trial.
The one
Case from yesterday.
Okay, so when is that?
They didn't set it.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to set it for a jury trial, but if you're still in jail at that time, then I'll just adjourn it again so that you can prepare. I'm not worried about that. So, I mean, but I can't do anything about your other case is what I'm saying. So I'm looking at, as far as the date right now, I just want to put a date on the books so that we know that you have an idea. I mean, if you get out tomorrow, then you'll know and what your date is. So I'm looking at, let's see. And I don't have the availability to check with my clerk because my criminal clerk is out this week.
Your Honor, we do
I'm
sorry, Judge. We do have other jury trials scheduled on your docket on July 9th. I don't know if that's too soon.
That's probably going to be. It's only a couple weeks away, so I don't know what his situation is, and even if he gets out in a week, that only gives him a little bit of time. I want to make sure he has at least a couple weeks to. I mean, it's a driving on a restricted license, so it's not exactly a whole lot of prep time for that. It's not a homicide case, but so I'm looking at August 13th because I'm trying to pick a date that's outside of probably where I'm already scheduling stuff at because I don't have my criminal clerk here to kind of check and see like where I'm at with things. So we're going to set this for August 13th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And I know that we'll set that at 8:30 in the morning, August 13th.
That's more than a month out.
Mr. Martin, let the deputy know that you're all set and we'll be mailing out the notice to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. All the best to you and your staff.
Say again?
That's the one I want to say to with the prosecutors here. Dealing with this other case that I'm here for now, I request that
you can't talk about this. Isn't for the other case.
Not the same prosecutor. Not the same prosecutor. That's the state prosecutor.
They're Taylor prosecutor.
Your other case, are you talking about your other case? Your other case is a state case. So that's a Wayne County prosecutor's office. Not the city attorney.
I'm talking about the case I'm in here now. I want them notify the prosecutor that I want charges filed on Chris Lamar for bringing these falsified charges against me. Now,
again, are you listening? Wrong prosecutor's office. This is the local prosecutor. You want the state prosecutor, and even if you did have the state prosecutor here, that's not how this works.
Assault and battery that I have on video camera for. Just so, you know what I mean? And she keeps bringing this.
Again, that's the other prosecutor. That's a different prosecutor's office, sir.
Because it's my equal protection right to bring charges to. They want to bring charge against me?
He's not listening at all. He's literally not listening.
But they don't have no.
I don't even think like there's nothing to understand or not understand. He's being told that's not the right person, and he's just not listening.
I do, and I should be suffering here in jail as a lack of evidence. This is all tied, and the unequal protection
And
clause.
that's on your other case, sir. So,
It's still a right though. It's still my right to tell the prosecutors this and have them act.
Wrong
on it.
prosecutor!
If they don't, it's going to certify a defense.
this isn't the proper prosecutor. That's the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office on your other case, okay? This is the city attorney. Okay? Deputy, have a good rest of your day to you and your staff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
He's frustrating to deal with. He's one of the ones that's, I don't know, he's newer, but like, he just does not listen at all. Is this a parody of Sovereign Citizens or an actual Sovereign Citizen things? Eastern Star, thank you, not Northern.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you keep your seatbelt off, man?
Nope. I'd agree with you if you were right, but Captain Sully was saving his own ass.
Where's your little constitutional pocketbook? You want to fucking learn something? You read that thing.
Okay, it's a parody of Sovereign Citizens.
Man, Article 78, under the amendment of I have rights and I don't want my rights fucking violated. The reason my men stopped you was to help you.
Doesn't look like they ever actually made it. Alright, let's see what's next. It's everyone's favorite.
Never came up with any of its own.
And hello, good men, women, and children. This is Kat Aspinda with One New Word. Welcome to my show. Today, I came across an article, and it was called "The Justinian Deception," and it was by Romley Stewart. And it's all about the grammar and how the grammar has been used to basically keep us dumbed down and not really knowing what our rights are. I thought it was very fascinating to read, to look over, because many people know in our court systems, they use a dead language, and it's called Latin. Nobody uses Latin anymore. Why do our court systems use Latin?
Latin is used in a lot of professions that require years and years of schooling. So, like, Latin is utilized in the sciences, it's utilized in the law. It's because a lot of the concepts in these fields originate in the Latin, in classical ideas, and people who kind of like the institutions that grew around these ideas of higher learning really, really like Latin. They like classical stuff, right? It's not nefarious. It's just tradition.
And then you start to get really into it and, how they, just made a debauchery out of our English language, because the English
made a debauchery. I'm gonna make a debauchery out of you.
Language is a created language that stems from many different languages. And what they did was so deceptive in how they used that against us, and the dog Latin, which is the mixture of Latin and English, it's considered dog Latin.
I prefer pig Latin.
And a lot of times they use these animal references because they look at us as animals. The elite have been known to call us the goyim or the feeders, like pigs, you know.
Overt anti-Semitism on the bingo card we aren't playing.
And there's all kinds of references out there that you could probably think of, you know, where there are animal references in relationship to men and women. And so we didn't.
Reminder that the bedrock of every conspiracy theory is just anti-Semitism.
Know about a lot of these things, and I came across this article, so I wanted to go ahead and read to you what I found.
She's a Trump supporter too, surprise.
But it ties and falls in line with what I have been exposing with the banks, that they provide nothing, that this is a fake system, that all the digits are populated through the Federal Reserve, and there is word magic going on in our court systems that we don't even realize. Many of those terms being energy terms, like being charged, and for battery. Those are two examples of energy terms that they use.
Semantic obsession, this idea that words that sound the same, like homonyms, therefore must be synonyms. It's so weird.
How about summon? You know,
homonyms or homophones.
Think of summoning a witch, summoning demons. Why do the courts have to summon you?
Because they gotta get you there, and it's just the official term for asking you officially to come to court. Telling you officially to come to court. Profane Priestess says, virulent anti-Semitism, one of the West's proudest traditions. Unfortunately.
Is the purpose of using these specific words. And then learning about how we were turned into corporations or corpserations, because a corp is dead, it's death. An oration, that's speaking.
That's not how that works.
It's the dead speaking. And that's who we are. And that's what they've made us to be, using this Justinian deception. We think we're hearing the same thing, but we're not. We're basically, it sounds the same, but like our name, for instance, as the living woman, I'm Cataspinda. But, if you look on my driver's license or a birth certificate or anything that has to do with the government, it could be the school, your utility company, your tax bill, it's all in all caps letters. And there's a reason for that.
Because it's more legible. Benekagami says Latin being used in those fields is like why jargon exists. Active languages are fluid and evolving, that these highly influential fields need to try to isolate their findings and terminology from the main lexicon in order to avoid having to constantly have their documentation, I assume, changed. Was supposed to be in there. It's supposed to help prevent confusion. It also is due to nuance and specificity. H-Baird says, you heard of the Justinian deception, now thrill at Theodora's gambit.
I'd mentioned before, if you look at the U.S. Style Manual, that it actually goes into how capitalization works. But this is specifically what he talked.
Oh, does it say it's because secretly you're a corporation, or does it explain that it's because it's legible?
About here is the dog Latin that they use, and it's there to fool us. And it's there by design. And they didn't teach us this.
Oakley at K. It'll a uncerned K hat they uye ame eBay little a razy K Ikle Ely Ray Razy K.
This is hidden knowledge. And so I want to share this with you. So here we go. Of this show, I'm going to leave a link so that you can be linked to Romley Stewart's information, this article specifically. It is a real deep dive. And so for those of you who are interested in, just language and how they use it against us, they do that in the banking system as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here.
Gray says, ma'am, speak with the dead is a 3rd level spell, and I don't think we're seeing enough fireballs to support that.
So
maybe she's just, they're just very restrained with the fireballs. They're just not wizards.
the bank does not have money.
I will say, I love her glasses. Points for the glasses. Unfortunately, those points are obliterated by the anti-Semitism, but still, nice glasses.
It is the director of the flow of debt currency. Debt titles being dollars, the gold is you.
This is going to be my vibe when I'm 50, by the way, so prepare for that. Big glasses and just like, that's going to be it.
You the sheep. Being the dominion over the mineral and energy wealth that was originally granted to the living man, and without you, under a hidden trust law, split title arrangement, that renders you as the legal title holder of their account. They lose equitable rights over your dominion because such as a corporation, dominion was only ever granted to man, and the bank can only act as a commercial agent of living man on the condition such a living man has agreed or been deceived into acting as the dead account holder of such a bank in order that the equitable title falls into the hands of the bank. The bank sits in relationship, the healing process, you know, when they get to the healing of being the first trustee to the real God of living man. The Vatican is the God of the dead persons because it was not God of man that created the dead juristic corporate person. It was the Vatican that created such a thing as the person. The Vatican is the false God. Now, I talked about the Vatican in my last show, where I explained the healing process. You know, when they get to the point where you're born now, and they are having your mom fill out the information for the birth certificate, she becomes an informant. And she doesn't know that, even though she signs right where it says informant. They're like, just sign here.
It says parent or other informant. Informant in this context literally just means person providing information. It doesn't say your parent is an informant, although they are in this context, but not the kind of informant you mean. It says parent or in other informant. So like someone else who would fill out the paperwork for her.
Here, and we just sign, and we don't ask questions. What does informant mean? What are we informing? Think of
informing your name. You're informing of the official information of the child's name.
Informant. Inform aunt. Think of that for a second. You know, again, another animal term that they've mixed into our languages, informant.
Wait, so we can't have any words with ANT at the end? Oh no.
Anyways, they
I hope she never becomes a claimant.
Basically dry pack the mother's placenta. Once the baby is born, they create the birth certificate or the certificate of live birth. They stamp those little footprints onto that live certificate of birth, steal
for identification purposes.
Your soul. There's a lot of symbology, a lot of symbolism that goes on in this whole system.
There isn't.
And that is representative of stealing your soul.
It's not. It's for identification purposes because you can't get fingerprints off a baby that are legible. You gotta get footprints.
While you didn't even realize that was happening because you were too little. And in the meantime, you became dead, a dead legal entity to them. And they're doing it for the reasons of doing business with you. And now the banks, they are in cahoots with the courts. They're in cahoots with the sheriffs. They're in cahoots with the deputy prosecuting attorneys. They're in cahoots with all the brotherhood that they have, where meet every how many so times a week at their lodge.
Oh damn! I want that gavel. Someone get me that gavel. That's a cool one.
And this is.
I'm trying to do a caterpillar to left. I think I'll stick with mine.
This is a problem because this is a system that has been hidden. They don't openly talk about that part of their lives. And many of these people are in politics. They are CEO.
Why is my arm so itchy? Something on the table?
They are police chiefs, and they are people in the government roles that are pushing us into the New World Order. And now a lot of people don't see it or they don't realize it. And so I want to continue to bring awareness.
It's not on the side of the sunburn, though. This is on the bottom where I didn't get burned. I got burned up here. Benekagami says, 1. Seriously, Kat, stop the laughing. You sound like a cackling villainess. It doesn't help your case. 2. What do Sobsits say about the term guardian? I can't imagine the mental gymnastics. I don't know.
Awareness to what the banks do. And they are committing absolute fraud into this Luciferian Babylonian banking system that's been around for over 6,000 years. And all of it is to keep us dumbed down and distracted. It's to keep us complacent. You know, they've driven a lot of fear into us because using Hollywood, you know, they use basically Hollywood to paint the story that our minds and believe, what we believe. And if those things were not put into our minds, we probably wouldn't even have thought of that. And there's a lot of things that start.
I'm sorry, where are we getting? Why is Ernie now on screen?
We are children, where they put these things in front of us as children. And now, as you see, they're trying to teach our
rubber duckies just living in the tub, thinking everything is all right. Now I sit down in the tub, put my feet on the floor, try to wrap the towel around me, and I open up the door, and then splish splash, I got back in the bath. How was that? I didn't know there was a party going on.
It could be a girl, or the girls that they could be a boy. And
oh, anti-trans, fun.
Why are we at this point where we are allowing these insane people to look over and teach our children? It's really an emergency at this point. You know, there is just nothing normal that's been going on. In fact, I just heard that the trans
I don't know the correct song
community doesn't like the word cervix, so now it's front hole. What?
What are you talking about? I don't even think front hole would be a good descriptor of a cervix. Your cervix is like, you know, internal. What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about, Kat? Do you know what a cervix is? You have one.
What does that mean? Like, is that a better word? Or, you know, your feelings are hurt because of the word, because you don't have one? Well, that's because you are not a woman.
Instead of cervix, did she mean vagina? Like, was there an article about someone saying you should use the term front hole instead of vagina, and in her head she somehow exchanged vagina and cervix? Which, personally, I think that's weird, too. I'm not gonna call a vagina a front hole, but, like... It feels like a half-heard right-wing media talking point that she garbled in her head. You can kind of tell when you hear a telephone game happening of right-wing nonsense.
You would have one if you were a woman, and there's only two sexes. And this is, again, the brainwashing that these insane people at our school districts, and we've got sheriff departments and police departments allowing these people to damage and hurt our children.
It's a right-wing copy pasta.
We have to start saying no more to this. This is not okay. Everything that they're doing to us with this dog Latin, with the Justinian deception, and how they basically used our English language to...
I don't know if she actually got kicked out yet. She did go through the court proceedings, and like the period for the eviction started, so I don't know if it happened yet. She didn't post and say that or anything.
Fool us, and we had no idea about any of that. So I want to read a little bit more here, the concept of modern day slavery, because that is really where we are. It's not the slavery that many people have in their minds. You know,
in the United States, the place modern-day slavery exists, it's in the prison system. Like when people are forced do labor for free against their will, that's slavery. What you're talking about isn't that, so maybe shut the fuck up.
They created like shows like Roots, for instance.
I believe we did watch her reaction to Trump's conviction, yes.
I
did at least.
This is when we hear slavery, that is the image that comes to our minds.
I mean, not for people, for me specifically, because I'm a big movie and TV person, so I've seen all of Roots and Roots the Next Generation. But I don't know, if you're under 30, do most people think of Roots? Have most people under 30 even seen Roots?
But in all reality, the black race is not only slaves in the world. There are slaves today in our world.
Yes, Kat.
There's full-on slavery, and then you've got our type of slavery, which is modern day slavery, which is, I would basically say that the corporations are controlled by our government. They use the corporations against the people to keep us controlled. Now, as long as you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing according to all their zillions of rules, regulations, statutes, codes, ordinances, policies, and procedures.
She going to veer into QAnon? Oh, she's already into QAnon.
You'll be fine. At least you'll be.
If anything, it feels like she got into QAnon first, and then that led her into Sovsit stuff.
Exactly where they.
I have to use the bathroom real quick, very suddenly, so I'm going to go pee. While I do that, Cher will tell you about, Ted Bundy, the movie. There you go. Oh, shit! Don't do that. Okay. Ikigami says, yes, Kat, the government is the reason corporations suck. It's definitely not the other way around.
They want you, which is controlled. They want us in this little funnel. We're not really looking left, and we're not looking to the right.
Watch Roots in class in 5th grade. It must, like, all of them? Because, like, the first Roots miniseries is, like, 10 episodes long. I can't believe they'd take that much class time. Maybe, like, the first couple episodes. Probably the Kunta Kinte episodes, which I think is, like, the first 2 or 3. I could see that, I guess, in school. But, like, Roots is a long mini-series, and then they did the sequel that went all the way up to Alex Haley writing Roots.
We are basically just drumming along, and we are not paying attention as they steal our world in the background. So
watched all of it in high school? Wow.
Now
I went to a cooler high school than me.
I'm going to go ahead and read this and just kind of let me know what you think of this, okay? I think this is kind of a little more deep, but a lot of you are already common law scholars. Many of you have been reading on this for a very...
For those that genuinely don't know about Roots, I would recommend it. It's the story of a family, starting with Kunta Kinte, who is kidnapped from Africa and put into bondage. And then, you know, the episodes, like, he gets older, has a kid and dies, and then she's the main character, and then the story goes on and she gets older and has a kid and she dies, and then that kid's the main character. So it's like a mini series that follows a single family lineage and their stories through like American history and their story going through slavery and post-slavery, from kidnapping in Africa all the way to like the 1980s, like the author of the book the thing is based on researching for the book that you are watching the mini-series it's based off of, if that makes sense. So I'd recommend it. It's very interesting.
A long time, and there might be some new people who've never heard of it, and that's okay.
I think that's a very wise thing to say, Trey.
We all have to start
I think
somewhere.
that's very
so
true.
if you don't understand something that you hear, start picking, write down those things and start doing some research. It's very important that we do our own research and that we don't just trust what people tell us is the truth. Because we now know with the...
Yeah, they think understand is a secret spell or like word that puts you under the authority of others. So they say overstand or innerstand, stuff like that.
COVID-19 scamdemic, that was all a lie. I mean, with Dr. Fauci,
Okay, I'm done with Kat for the day. She's just straight up in her QAnon shit, and I am exhausted by it, so let's move on. Try this. These are some new people. It's a live stream. Don't know how far into this we'll get, but let's check it out.
Carmel.
The title of this is, Man Cave Classified. How many times have you signed your life away to the government? MH Darkbeast says there's a thriller based on the sovereign citizen movement based on a true story coming soon. I actually did hear about that, and Nick Offerman's in it. It's exciting. Profane Priestess says, Kat, are you upset that corporations have so much power that our governmental procedures are dominated by undemocratic institutions like the Senate, the Electoral College, and the military-industrial complex? If so, you're not mad at some nebulous them, you're mad at capitalism in the former case and the racist hypocrisy of our founders in the latter case. If you want to solve this, join a union, vote left in primaries, advocate for new, more democratic systems like referenda.
Again, welcome, Man Cave Classified episode 17, season 2. Carmel and Kelby here. We are just getting used to dialoguing about the world and the changing events and everything that's going on, the asinine nature of division, of separation, of racism, systemic racism across the board in every degree, but it's all by design in a lot of different cases. And unfortunately, there's some racist people out there. But we have
I think this is maybe the first time I've ever heard a sovereign citizen actually bring up systemic racism. So that's pretty good. Good for him.
A big issue in this nation, and I think nobody's really talking about it. That's even bigger than anything that it's kind of like that's the smoke and mirrors. And, Carmel, I've been the executive director for His Advocates for a long time, and we're going on 14 years. There's a lot of people out there that claim to know what they're doing as far as how to free people and the important nature as to why they would want to be free and like what that even means. And Carmel, you became a client after we were friends for a long time, and said, I want freedom. And I want you to kind of put in your let's get that dialogue going as to what are actual contracts, why are they contracts, how does it make somebody a slave, why does it make somebody a slave, and why is it important? Because I don't think people are thinking this thing all the way through. And just give us your 2 cents, and you have the floor, my brother.
Yeah, man, thanks. I would say, I haven't talked to you about this stuff for years. I was always curious, but I think some of the things that started waking me up were just having kids, honestly, and having to deal with getting birth certificates and vaccination records. And
there it is.
And why?
Yeah, like, why am I doing all this? Like,
for administrative purposes, because we live in a really complicated world that has a state, and the state has a bureaucracy. So they have official documents, so that when your kid later is an adult and has things that they need to do, they can identify themselves.
Why do I have to do something if this is my child? And feeling
your child is not your property. Your child is not your property. You are their guardian. It is your job to facilitate them to adulthood in a healthy and productive manner that makes sure that they're taken care of and loved, and that includes making sure that these kind of things are taken care of, so when they're an adult that they don't have to freak out and go, oh my god, I'm not in any sort of system, I'm not in the social security system, how am I going to get a job? Overthought says having kids and eventually losing custody of them is now a Sovset tradition.
Feeling like you're being forced to. I'll never forget my last daughter, and they were asking about getting shots, and I was like, nah, I think we're not going to do shots. And they're just feeling like you're being pressed. And
yes, you should feel pressed. You're a bad parent if your kids can be vaccinated and you choose not to get them vaccinated. You're a bad parent. Captain Squid says the guy on the left is obviously using a Zoom background, but it's just a normal house? That's weird. Is he streaming from an unfinished basement or something? I have no idea.
And then, like, signing the birth certificate, getting asked about vaccinations, and it's like, it was not the most, it wasn't the sweet moment you want having your child to be. It's like,
wait a minute, I have to fill out paperwork?
I feel like I'm like buying a car here. Like, this is mine already. Like, I don't need to.
This is mine already. Oh no.
Ask for anyone.
This is mine, he says, describing his child.
Permission. So what's with this paper? What's with this paper? And that kind of got me started on this journey of to figuring out, like, what am I obligated to? And now what am I, like, what rights have I given away unwittingly? Because I think a lot of us just don't know.
You're not giving away any rights by doing any of these things. Not a thing.
Because we've been told by our parents, and our parents were told by their parents, and you get in school, you sign this, you get in school, you sign that, and just everywhere you're signing stuff just because you've been told to.
There are times that you need to sign documents. You're an adult.
So
you make obligations to others. Surprise! That's life. You get a job. You sign a bunch of stuff because you're making obligations to your employer, just as they make obligations to you. You take out a loan. You sign documents because, again, you're making obligations to the bank or whoever's giving you the loan. Yes, that's life. It's you officially saying, I, as a person, am making a promise to you to do something. That's how we navigate life, is by making agreements with other people. Just society.
When I talked to you about getting my passport, I remember having the idea of thinking, why can't I just go? Why do I need to ask someone's opinion to go to Ireland? Why do I need to have some kind of situation where someone's approving me? I'm a grown man. Like, why do I need to have someone?
I'm a grown man. Why can't I break international law by going into countries without any sort of documentation? Look, I wish that the world worked in a way that there was just, like, free movement of people. Like, I'm pretty based like that. But that's not how the system currently works. So asking, why do I need a passport, rhetorically is stupid, because the answer is, because the world is complicated and full of a lot of different states, and different states have different things and different qualifications for coming into the country. So to simplify this, we have a system of passports that are negotiated agreements between different states that will allow citizens of their states to enter each other's countries. That's the reason. It's a simplification, so they don't have to investigate every single person that wants to come into their country, or vice versa. What are you doing?
Like, validation of my ability to go anywhere. We didn't have to. You didn't used to do that. I can just jump in a boat, and if I made it, I did. If I didn't, I didn't. You know.
And that worked out great for everyone.
But now we have all these, hoops to jump through to travel the world, and then just talking to you.
Does he think historically it was easy to get in a boat and, like, go to a different country?
And getting some information about how, no.
Because it was not.
You can.
Like, most people weren't taking big wooden boats to the New World constantly. Most people stayed in their geographic region their entire life.
You know, just you have now put yourself in a situation where you've made obligations to not be able to, and just how to work yourself out of that. So
Unstable Deadbeat says, does a SOP sit like this support immigration? Like, do they believe that people from other countries should also be allowed to freely enter the US? I would hope so if they're not hypocrites. Hype train.
I think now for my children, I'm telling them, like, hey, don't sign.
Since it's a hype train, gift subs help the channel, bits help the channel. All of it helps keep the stream going, so I appreciate
anything. I don't care what it is, what you're doing. Don't sign anything. Let's talk first. Because yeah, there are some things you definitely need to do, but like it's not nearly as talked about as it needs to be. You know, in school we have economics, we have American history, we've got nutrition, which is not really nutrition. We'll talk about that at some point. But all these classes to get you, you know,
You had nutrition classes in high school?
somewhat educated, and you walk
I had home ec.
out.
Is nutrition the new version of home ec? I genuinely don't know.
You have no education whatsoever. The world that you live in is so different than what you actually realize. And to some degree, people will just live from, you know, 0 to 85 and call it a life and be okay with that. But, you know, I'm not. So I'm like, I want to be.
You were so much further along than most people, and you know, people, I think their first reaction is taxation.
Mm-hmm.
Then they start seeing how the money is spent, and then they start having conviction a little bit. And you know, for me, I think there was a moment in which I went down to clear up an issue at the county, like in 2002 or 3, where I know I had paid all my child support growing up with my oldest to her mom, and why I had to pay it to her in the beginning when she lived with me 13 or 14 out of the 18 years. I have no idea why. I never got paid a dime of child support from her when she lived with me.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it come down to this? Why does it come down to this? I'm sure that she never did any free labor of child taking care of, or home care or anything, you fucking asshole.
But nevertheless, she went down to collect on unemployment or whatever help from the county. And the county came after me, and I'm like, I'm paying her. You know, and I went down to the county, and they pulled out this form, and it said, okay, sign right here. And I looked at the top of the form, Carmel, and I got freaking lit. I remember this, and I'm a believer, and I'm trying to be a good guy and not beat up this, you know, guy for tricking me. But this contract,
Trying to be a good guy and not beat up this guy for tricking me. Sounds like a good guy. Good guys usually have to restrain themselves from assaulting other people. 19% to level 1 on the hype train with a minute and a half left. Gillis Filler says, oh no, how terrible. They paved a road and fed an underpaid Walmart employee. The abject horror, the sheer brutality of of humanity laid bare.
was a stipulated judgment. And anybody that knows the law understands that a stipulated judgment is you're stipulating to a judgment. And so I literally looked at this dude and I said, are you freaking kidding me? I said, I need a full release right now. I'm not signing a stipulated judgment. That means I'm guilty and I am not. And here's the letter releasing me because she admits to being paid by me. I need the release now. They did it, gave me a full letter of release, and most guys would have signed a stipulated judgment and would have been liable to the state for the balance due. And I was pissed, and I started thinking, you know, it's only because I went through a very hard time in business a couple of times throughout my career where I had to learn law, I had to learn court procedures for different elements in marketing. But then that really kind of
I'm
got
sure his understanding of marketing law translates to other civil and criminal matters.
me thinking, okay, there's a ton of shysters out there that are non-governmental. How big of a shyster is the government and themselves? And I started looking at Henry Paulson when he got on his knees to Nancy Pelosi and begged for a $800 billion bailout. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? The banks are begging for a bailout. And at that time, I just heard, I wasn't sure, I didn't know 100%. But for the record, everybody that's listening, in this nation, in the United States corporation, in that company, all debt is prepaid. That means your titles, your insurance, death insurance, life insurance, your health insurance, and your mortgages and your cars. When you sign something, and look, I've done a 9-hour advanced chain of title training. I come with the experience of a broker's license. I'm not spouting something from the curb as a little guru 14-year-old trying to figure out picking up somebody else's chime. I'm coming.
No, you're spouting it on the internet, which is somehow more embarrassing.
With 10,000 clients of members of experience on doing what I do and years of experience in my field. And literally all because the United States is in bankruptcy, HJR 192, then there's your proof. And the banks are 100% the creditors. Guess what? If there's a creditor, there's got to be a debtor. And if it's the United States, what is behind the United States? It's the citizenry. And it's the people. And so as I started to explore and looking at Henry Paulson on his knees, literally on TV, knowing he's on TV, begging Nancy Pelosi, please say yes, please say yes. And finding out that that $800 billion was going to go straight to the banks when it could have gone to the consumers at a low interest rate loan. The money would have hit the banks anyway. Mm-hmm. And now the banks and the people would have had a great relationship, but instead they gave the money to the banks, of which $300 billion never came back. And companies like AIG and the biggest bank names that you know all participated in the beginning of bailout scams. And what is a bailout really? It's how do we fleece our friends and neighbors? And
I'm done with this guy. He's boring me at this point. Is anyone else feeling a little, chilly?
Yeah. They're lying. Hello, world. Today is June 17th, 2024. I'm going to cover today in my daily journalistic update the respondent answering brief. And this message goes out to the media. In Louis Brandeis's day, when he was confirmed for the Supreme Court in 1916, they would have called the media today the kept media, because they were kept by the railroad barons, by William Randolph Hearst, by John D. Rockefeller. And so today what we call the media is we call it the state-run media. However, I think this goes out to all media representatives because this concerns you. Whether you like it or not, or you like me or not, I am a journalist. And what I do specifically is I film police when they pull someone over or in their official capacity, any place, anywhere they are. So this must be addressed. And so this goes out to the mainstream media, to the regular media, to the state-run media, to the traditional...
Has he started laying the groundwork for his appeal dismissal yet? Like, how is he going to explain it away? He'll just say corruption. He'll just say the system is corrupt.
Media, whatever you want to call yourself.
I think his next move will be to more parlay. Like, when he gets out of jail, I think he'll focus some of his, like, grift into... Well, I couldn't see, even our petitions didn't do anything, so I think he'll lean harder into claiming he's going to run for governor. Like, he said that multiple times. So I think he's gonna rhetorically shift to being like, the system is too broken to petition, because I wasn't, you know, allowed out of jail. So therefore, I'm gonna run for governor, and he's gonna try and raise a bunch of money off of that, probably. Whatever, 3132 with a $2 super chat says, when the world needed him least, Chili returned. What state? I think he had claimed he wanted to run for the governor of Nevada. He had said other states too, though, when he was in them, so...
Because I am the new media, and I will continue to film police, because that's what my journalistic endeavors bring me to be. So this is an answer to my appellate, to my appeal brief, and it's a response brief from Stephen B. Wilson and Alexander Chin. It starts off on page 1, where it gives the statement of the case. And you can read down page 1, March 15th at 4:30 p.m. It was 2:30 p.m. And then it goes down to the statement of facts at the trial on March 15th, Las Vegas Metro Police Officer Brandon Bork at a traffic stop near 4155 Grand Canyon. He was in a car. He pulled over a woman. Next page, page 3, she seemed a little bit confused. Bork asked the driver for identifying information. And then it says, appellant then approached the driver and began speaking to her from roughly 5 to 10 feet away. That's the first lie right there. I have filmed hundreds of police in over 30 states in America, and I have never gone within 5 feet. That's not true. One time I walked up to a stop, and I was actually right by the passenger side door, and when the cop said to me, "You're too close," I looked at the driver's side door, and passenger door, and I said, "I'm so sorry, officer," and I stepped away because I was too close. That's the only time in the history of me filming cops.
It does say between 5 and 10. I think it's a little more than 5, but it's not further than 10. I think even 10 is stretching it in terms of closeness to the person who was in the car that he was talking to. Maybe 7. Maybe 7.
Because I've been within 5 feet. I'm always...
So I think 5 to 10 feet is an appropriate estimation on the part of the prosecutor here.
At least 10 feet away. It's a lie. So if they'll lie about me, state-run media, traditional media, then they'll lie about you. And you're next. At that point, Officer Bork exited vehicles and ordered the appellant to back
when
away.
They came for the frauditors, I did not speak. And that was the end of the chain, because this isn't a slippery slope to anything.
Now we go down to the second paragraph, and it says, instead of backing away, appellant simply continued to argue with Officer Bork. That's not true. I informed him that I was a constitutional law scholar and a member of the press, and I'll be filming this interaction.
And you continued to argue with him and didn't back up. Yep. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive.
On to say, Bork further explained he was trying to get the appellant to back up approximately 21 feet for safety concerns for everybody involved. He explained that backing someone up to 21 feet so he can continue to do his job without interference is commonly taught in training. But it's not a code, statute, law, or ordinance. It's simply not. So they're saying things in here that are fundamentally untrue. The next paragraph down says, Officer Bork was concerned for his own safety as well as the driver's safety. He did not know anything about the appellant or what his motivations were, or if the appellant was armed. No, but what he did observe is that I was filming the interaction, that I informed him I'm a member of the press. And in the history of people filming the police, they've never been filming the police and pulled out a weapon and shot the cops. So let's
never? No, again, I don't think most sovereign citizens are in actual danger to the police, but there have been a few times where that has happened, where they did straight up pull out a gun and shoot the police. So to say that it's never happened is a lie. That's an abject lie. I think it's also unfair to always assume that a sovereign citizen is armed and going to shoot you in the face, but to say it's never happened is just objectively wrong. H-Beard says he said the same thing with a link. See... push, 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 pull.
Press.
Oh, press, sorry.
Pull.
I love them.
Here. And then the next paragraph down, it says, it says, during Officer Bork's interaction with the appellant informed Officer Bork that he was a member of the press, as I have 2 cameras, one actively rolling. On the next page, page 4, it says, and here's where the lies really begin to pepper up. Third line down, first paragraph. Appellant refused to go in front of the patrol car as he continued to film. Officer Bork attempted to escort the appellant over to the patrol car, but the appellant swatted his hand away. Officer Bork then grabbed the appellant by the shirt and spun him around so that he was in front of the patrol.
Yeah, Chili, I believe, tried to justify that by saying he had wrestling training and it was like automatic that he grabbed the guy. I think now he's trying to claim it didn't happen at all, but that's not what we saw in the video. So.
Lie after lie after lie. Bork reached his hand out to me. I put my hand up in front of my cheek. My hand was maybe 6 inches away from my own face because you have to protect yourself at all times. And when a hand is coming in at you, it's a natural reaction to put your hand up in the air. Bork's testimony will even say that he did not believe I was trying to fight him or attack him, that I simply put my hand up because there was a hand coming at my face. It's a lie. I didn't swat away the officer's hand. That's not true. That's false. If they'll lie about me, traditional media, then they'll lie about your reporter next. And then it also continues to lie.
He's trying very hard to get some journalist who's actually respected to pick this story up and take him seriously, because I think he knows that this isn't going well for him so far.
Say, once in front of the patrol car. I walked 30 feet to go in front of the patrol car. Appellant also testified at the trial and explained that he films police officers for a living as a member of the press. Appellant said he was only willing to take a couple steps back in order to move away from the stop. Appellant stated that his understanding of obstruction, it was a physical act that you have to get in the way. That's exactly correct, and that's clearly defined in Wilson versus First Judicial District Court, where they define obstruction as willful intent or the intent to hinder, delay, or obstruct. My intent was to film the police. Now we're the fourth paragraph down.
Does he actually believe this will work, or is it just pure grift? I think it's a mix of the two. I think he's definitely in this for attention and money, but he, in my opinion, shows enough narcissistic traits that he warps reality around him, his perception of reality. I think he genuinely believes he can do no wrong. I think he will always contort situations into believing he is in the right no matter what.
Appellant stated that when ordered to back up, he backed up a foot or two and was at least 10 feet away. When the officer explained that the driver deserved privacy, Appellant instructed Bork that he was to go get in his car, little doggy, and write his ticket. So I told him to go do his job. That in no way obstructs him. He could have went and done his job. The last paragraph, and this is where the argument begins. It says, now this is the big one, and for traditional media, I want you to really keep up with me here. Appellant argues that his conviction must be reversed based on his First Amendment right to record Bork's traffic stop. When Appellant had a First Amendment right to record the traffic stop, Appellant did not have the unfettered right to record the interaction in the time, place, and manner that he thought he was entitled to film. Okay, so what time is it? 2:30 in the afternoon. What manner is it? I'm holding a phone up announcing that I'm a member of the press. What place are we in? We're in a public place, in a public parking lot that's very busy, a lot of people around.
Right, but they're saying time, place, and manner restriction is the usual term for, again, like, hey, like, it's not that this is not okay, but we're gonna, like, push it. It's been used, for instance, time, place, and manner restrictions were put on the Westboro Baptist Church at some point because they were protesting, like, soldiers' funerals or something, so they basically told them, like, hey, you have to go a certain amount back or something like that. That's usually the context in which it is used. Also, like, in traditional public venues you can't film, and I think that's usually considered under the same doctrine.
I'm wearing a...
It's jargon. It doesn't literally necessarily mean that specific thing as much as it means, while you do have a right to do this in this specific context, there are extenuating circumstances that disallow it the way you are doing it.
Bright neon blue sweatshirt. Time, place, and manner is clearly established that if you're a psychopath who wants to go off and kill cops, you're not going to do it in the middle of a busy parking lot at 2:30 in the afternoon wearing a bright blue neon hoodie. It's absolutely preposterous. Time, place, and manner works on my side. And then as we go on to the next page, page 5, second paragraph down. This is really funny. I'm not sure what Wolfson or Chen are thinking by publishing these things or putting these into the respondent, but let me just read it here. Fields versus City of Philadelphia, second paragraph down. It goes beyond protection of the press and self-explanation of individuals to prohibit government from limiting the stock information from which members of the public may draw. That works in my favor. You don't have...
He doesn't understand... He keeps saying, like, this works in my favor. Chili doesn't understand that this response is saying, yes, but. He's just listening to the yes part and going, see, this is in my favor. But the but is, yes, he has the right to film, but he wasn't arrested for filming. He was arrested for his conduct while he happened to be filming. So they're saying, we grant you this, But that's not what you were arrested for. So it doesn't matter that they said yes, because the yes is the preclude to the but, which says that's irrelevant. They're granting you things that don't matter materially to you being released. And he's like, yeah, he doesn't get it. He still doesn't get it.
I have the right to limit my information by telling me to move 25 feet back when I was plenty away. Then it goes on to mention First National Bank versus Bailouts, and it says, it is well recognized that recording police activity falls squarely within the First Amendment right to access information. It works in my favor again. And then he quotes Brasenberg versus Hayes. The right to record applies equally to the press as well as public. So now time, place, and manner is middle of the day, announce on the press, wearing a bright blue jumper, hoodie, and the cop says he's scared. And so then it goes on here. Now I'm going to go down two more lines here. I find this absolutely preposterous. And then right here it's going to say, in Zemel versus Rusk, the right to speak and publish does not carry with it unrestrained right to gather information.
Yeah, the next paragraph starts, however,
otherwise valid.
The way one exercises his First Amendment rights is not absolute, and the exercise of such rights are subject to reasonable place, time, and manner. Yeah.
Laws serving substantial public interest may be enforced against the press as against others, despite the possible burden that may be imposed. It quotes Brasenberg again. Reasonable restrictions on the right to film may be imposed when the circumstances justify them. So what circumstances are we talking about? What circumstances?
You being a weirdo and going up to the driver and yelling at the cop and calling him a pig and refusing to back up when he said so.
Circumstances are we talking about here? We're talking about what? We're talking about middle of the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon. I've announced that I'm a member of the press, and he gets insulted because I called him a little doggy.
I think it's less the time or the place and more the manner. I think the manner is the issue here.
The truth is that he got insulted and he lost the school. But I want to go point by point here because, and then it says the United States Supreme Court has recognized that traffic stops are inherently dangerous for cops. Well, it wasn't so dangerous. We're in the middle of the parking lot in the middle of the day. And then this is the funniest part of this respondent brief. It quotes Turner versus Driver. A First Amendment right to record police does exist, subject only to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions.
Yes, and they are saying that this was a reasonable restriction.
Once again, 2:30.
That's what they're arguing.
In the afternoon, broad daylight, bright blue hoodie, I announce I'm a member of the press. Union of Illinois versus Alvarez, the police may make all reasonable steps to maintain safety and control, secure the crime scene and accident site, and protect the integrity of confidentiality of the investigation. Yep, you're right. He could have asked her to step out of her car and come back to his car because I was more than 10 feet away and I'd already backed up a couple of feet. So then it goes to page 7 and it
Let me put it this way. If I was in the middle of the woods and I had to pick a random cop showing up in the woods or Chili de Castro, I'd pick the cop. And I do not trust cops.
And it quotes Glick versus Cunniff, which at time, place, and manner. Smith versus City of Cummings, which is time, place, and manner. And then it says, appellant was charged with and convicted with violating NRS Code 197.190. And it quotes Stubbs in here. Stubbs versus Las Vegas Metropolitan Police. Much like the situation in Stubbs where the attorney argued that his actions were meant to represent his client, that he did not mean to interfere with the official duties of the officers, appellant makes a similar argument in his intent to merely exercise his First Amendment right to video record officers and not to obstruct. However, the Ninth Circuit wrote in Stubbs points to no case, and we are unaware of none, holding that the right to counsel authorized...
There is no bear in this context. There's no bear. You can't have a bear.
And so it's the right to counsel, number one. Number one, stand shoulder to shoulder.
Unless the cop happens to be a large, hairy gay man.
Number two,
that barely counts.
Number three, while armed, Stubbs is not the right application of law. And then here, although the state recognizes that some of the specific facts in Stubbs differ, like I didn't have a gun, and the overall principles remain the same, no, they don't at all. Because, now remember, in Wilson versus First Judicial Court, it says clearly that I have to have the intent to hinder, delay, or obstruct. I don't. I'm a First Amendment auditor. I film police. Now, I'm going to get into some more things here because then it goes down to quote Glen versus Cunniff. Fourth paragraph down, page 8. Glick versus Cunness, to advance his argument, he was inappropriately arrested for filming the officers. However, Glick is distinguished from this case because the individual filming was in no way interfering with the officers. I wasn't interfering either. How is
You were.
telling the cop, go get in your car and write your ticket, little doggy?
That's not the only thing you did, Chile. You were yelling at him constantly a bunch of random shit.
Was that interfering with him? I told him to go do his job. I didn't tell him I'm going to punch you in the face if you go back to your car. Those are fighting words. That's also mentioned in Wilson versus First Judicial Court. It says that fighting words are protected unless you're using threats, which I did not do. Next paragraph down, page 8. The difference here is the appellate was actively interfering and obstructing. No, I wasn't. And it's clearly defined by the Nevada State Supreme Court in Wilson.
I like that he says no, he wasn't, despite being convicted of obstruction. No, I wasn't! Please ignore the conviction behind the curtain! Sorry, I have a fidget toy in here I'm looking for. My ADHD's real bad right now. There's one. That'll do.
Refusing to back up. I'm not obstructing because of where I'm standing over 10, 12, 15 feet away as I slowly backed up foot by foot by foot. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then it goes on to quote State versus Beckham on the second to last paragraph. A person must not be detained longer than necessary, and this is no longer than 60 minutes. So Bork had 60 minutes to tell the woman, come back to my car and let me deal with you here, because she doesn't have any expectation to privacy in public. Here's where the lies really begin. The very last line on page 8 into page 9. Listen to this. And so this is for the traditional media. It's me right now. It could be you next. However, appellant's conduct, which is seen on the body-worn camera, was preventing Officer Bork from carrying out his official duties in an orderly and safe manner. Really? By me standing there and filming him, telling him I'm a member of the press and go do your job, little doggy?
You notice how he keeps using that specific phrase as if it's the only thing he said in that entire, like, 5-10 minute interaction? It's almost like he's intentionally trying to obfuscate how distracting and ridiculous he was behaving.
Somehow obstructed him from doing his job? That's preposterous. Now on page 9, here's where the lies really double down by Wolfson and Chen. Appellant was incredibly aggressive and argumentative with Bork.
Yes.
In which way was I incredibly aggressive? I was the only one
Do we need to play the video?
who had my head on straight that day. The rest of those cops were violent and brutal and hurt me. I had to get surgery on my hand from what Sandoval did to my hand. Appellant was incredibly aggressive. In which way? The wind was blowing.
Didn't he say before that he had had surgery done recently that was exacerbated by the cop putting him in handcuffs? Is he now claiming that he had the surgery after?
About 20, 25 miles an hour, you had to raise your voice to be heard. And all I told him was go get in his car, little doggy. Those are not fighting words. Those are stress testing my First Amendment right. I'm a First Amendment auditor. And then
Do you feel stress tested?
Chen and Wilson go on to say, again, the issue here is not whether appellant had a right to film the encounter. Bork even told him he has the right to do so. However, appellant did not have a right to ignore or resist the reasonable commands that Bork gave him to record from a reasonable distance from the traffic stop. Even appellant himself testified he was only willing to back up a couple feet because he felt it was a sufficient distance by his own standard. Not by my standard, by every single state across America. That's the reasonable distance is 10 or 15 feet. Moreover,
Not every single state. Different states have different standards. I think only one. It's either one state or one appellate. Not district. Appellate. It's the word I'm thinking of. You know how there are different appellate courts throughout the country? One of them, or it might be a singular state, has a specific ruling at 10 feet. That is not universal. Circuit, thank you. That's the word I'm thinking of. I don't remember if it's a specific state or a specific circuit, but one of them has the 10-foot rule. It is not the entire country. It's not even most of the country.
Obeying the reasonable commands.
Obstruction laws are generally pretty vague in a way that even I disagree with. Like, I think obstruction is often defined quite arbitrarily and allows people to be arrested when they really probably shouldn't be. But Chili is not that person. This is not the case with Chili.
Those were not reasonable commands. He's not my dad. I am a member
He's not my dad!
of the press. My job
I thought I had daddy issues, Jesus.
is to be the fourth estate and to hold police accountable and film them. Had Bork been beating on that woman or killing her, I would be deemed the hero today. But because he wasn't, then my press rights should be revoked. Appellant instead argued with him and excitedly told the officer he was not required to move. Excitedly? The wind is blowing at 25 miles an hour. You have to speak up to be heard. Instead of physically moving an adequate distance, I was already an adequate distance away. Appellant instead told the officers to go get in your car, little doggy, and write your ticket. So how did that stop him from doing exactly what I said? The result of the appellant arguing and refusing to obey the commands was that Bork's investigation into the traffic infractions was being willfully hindered, delayed, or obstructed. No, it wasn't. No, it was not. I was willingly doing my job as a first.
He is legally the press. It's defined pretty broadly by the courts, to be honest. Like, the issue here isn't that he wasn't the press. The issue is that it doesn't matter. His behavior outside of that completely precluded him from being able to peacefully stand there. Like, he wasn't just filming.
Amendment auditor. I had no intention to hinder, delay, or obstruct whatsoever. It's preposterous. This whole thing is just full of lies. Now I'm on page 9 here.
You could even say it's not like the press. You could say it's just his First Amendment right to do. Actually, I don't know. I think legally he is the press.
Second to last paragraph. Furthermore, although appellant believed that his actions did not amount to obstructing an officer, appellant admitted on the stand he did not exactly know the statute or language. You know what? It doesn't matter if
How's being a frauditor a job? He makes money. How's being a Twitch streamer a job?
Statute or language.
What a job is pretty arbitrary. You don't have to like it, but it's true.
Clearly defined in Wilson, where it says the district court did not have our assessment before this case, and now they do. Obstruction is a physical act. That's what the Nevada State Supreme Court said. And by the way, that's misquoting me. I didn't say I didn't understand. I knew exactly what the law was. Appellant stated Officer Bork's commands were unlawful because he's only prohibited from physically interfering with the investigation, which is exactly what the Nevada State Supreme Court said. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. There's a couple more things I wanted to cover, but I've already covered them. So now I'm on page 10 here. Here, the Justice Court heard the testimony of Officer Bork and watched the video of the
Am I in Nevada? No.
body-worn foot.
I am in Michigan.
Bridge. Appellant resisting his arrest. Appellant refused to go in front of the officer's car. That's not true. I led the officer 30 feet back to his car.
Oh, I see what you're saying. He doesn't have to do what you say. Were you in Nevada? You were talking. I get it.
And the last paragraph. Appellant then struggled with Officer Bork. No, I didn't. No, I didn't, and I said on the stand, I have no intention to ever fight police whatsoever. I didn't struggle with him at all. If it was a fair man-to-man match and he didn't have a badge on, there wouldn't have been a struggle at all whatsoever.
He always does this. He's like, I'm not violent at all. And then he'll just, like, talk about, like, but if there was a fight, I'd kick their ass. A very normal, non-violent thing to say is to constantly have a need to tell people you could kick their ass if a hypothetical fight happened. Very normal, not a disturbing compulsion. You're very cool.
That's just a simple fact. But that's not what I did. This is a lie. Chen is lying and Wilson is lying. Appellant then struggled with Officer Bork. No, I did not. No, I did not. I've wrestled for over 30 years of my life. I love wrestling. My job is not to wrestle police on the scene. My job is to film the interaction of the First Amendment auditor. I have no intention ever to have a wrestling match with a copper. Ever. Whatsoever. So they're lying here. They're lying. And then it said here, it said, appellant admitted on the stand that he swiped at Officer Bork. No, I didn't. Did not. Put my hand up to block his hand from hitting my face. Officer Bork actually testified that he did not believe that in any way, shape, or form was I trying to fight him. So it's a lie again. Hey, mainstream media, they're lying about me. This was not what was said on the stand. You can get the transcripts yourself. I did not admit that I swiped at Officer Bork. A hand was coming at my face. I put my hand up to block my face. His hand hit my hand. My hand was less than inches away from my face. Protect yourself at all times. So then it says, it goes on talk about resisting, but I want to get a little bit into the judicial bias here. There's several pages that I marked up here to talk about, and I'm not going to talk too much about the judicial bias because there is pending litigation. I will be filing a lawsuit for what happened, but I want to talk about a couple of things here. They continue to press how appellant cites various incidents. There was no basis for the Justice Court's disqualification in the appellate case. Appellant cites various incidents that occurred during the proceedings to support his self-serving argument that the Justice Court was biased against him. His argument of judicial bias lies in the Justice Court asking him to empty his pockets to ensure that he was not recording the proceedings. That's not true.
Which he was recording, by the way. We now have the recordings. He lied when he said he wasn't. Trey says, I've met a lot of people like Chili and none of them can fight. To be clear, they can hurt people, yes, absolutely, but they would never fight someone who can fight back.
You can hear it yourself. It's on a channel called Don Andre Investigations. The bailiff came over and harassed me before court for a good 5 minutes and then went back and had a talk with the judge.
He didn't harass him. Let me tell you what happened, because this is part of what got caught on audio from his recording that we know he was recording. I would mimic this, but I don't want to end up on Wiki feet. Not wearing socks. So, Chili popped his feet up on the defendant's desk while he was waiting for the judge, which is a no-no. That's like a rude thing to do in someone else's house, much less, fucking court. He popped his feet up on the defendant's desk and was like, you know, chilling, trying to act all casual and shit. And the bailiff came up, the sheriff was like, hey, get your feet down. Like, other people have to sit here. We don't want your shoes on this. We don't know where you've been walking. And, it's just rude on top of that. And Chili was like, fuck you, pig. Eat my shorts. You can't tell me what to do. Like, Chili was acting like an absolute jackass in court.
Then the judge came out and said, I'm not going to be a part of your YouTube channel, meaning that she had already formed a bias against me. And then I believe that the judge and the bailiff colluded together, and she said, let's search him before the trial begins, so that it would trigger me. And that's what I'll be suing over. You don't have a right to search.
It wasn't to trigger you, Chili. It was because you were recording.
I already went through the metal detector.
Did he actually say, eat my shorts? Yeah, he says that all the time. He's stuck in the 90s. It's actually Bart Simpson transferred from the cartoon realm into the real world, and he grew up real depressing.
I'm no threat to anybody. And then it said, appellant did not seek... And then of course it goes on to say how I called the bailiff a pig. He argued he was chastised by the court because they called the court martial a pig. I did call the court martial. I did call the marshal a pig because he behaved like a pig.
Not even gonna defend the lack of decorum. He's just gonna say, yeah, you are a pig, you fucking douche. That'll go great.
Me unjustly. He treated me like a bully before court began. And then when he came over to illegally search me, he was jerking my pants pockets out, ripping my jacket around. And then it said here, next paragraph down, appellant did not seek to have the justice court removed from his case. Disqualifying the judge is waived by failure to timely assess that a court should be removed.
The Simpsons is still on, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know if Bart has said eat my shorts, and I don't know. I've not seen Simpsons basically since the Simpsons movie came out. I watched The Simpsons through DVDs up till like season 10, and then I watched The Simpsons movie and liked it, and then I watched the season that happened like right after The Simpsons movie that was pretty good, and then I dropped off. I have no idea what The Simpsons is like these days. Does he still say eat my shorts? I don't know.
That's not my job, that's my lawyer's job. He should have immediately called for a mistrial. The moment she said, I'm not going to be a part of your YouTube channel, the bias was clear. The moment she had the bailiff search me...
She's biased because she doesn't want you recording in court without permission?
The bias...
I don't think that's bias. I think that's controlling the courtroom.
Bias is clear. I'm not a trained lawyer. So that's why we put in here for ineffective counsel as well. And then it says that, and somewhere in here, I don't know if this is the exact page, but it says, then the court convicted me beyond a reasonable doubt. You mean the biased judge convicted me? No.
The court, the judge was the finder of fact in that particular matter because I believe you waived a jury trial.
No jury? And then she put me in jail? There's going to be a payout here. There's going to be a big payout here.
Oh, wow. He not only thinks he's going to get out, he thinks he's going to sue them and make a bunch of money. Fun.
So now I'm on page 14 here, and I'm just past here. I'm on number 3. Very top of it, there's A, C, D, and then number 3. It says, a judge upon the judge's own motion may disqualify himself or herself from acting in any manner upon the grounds or actual or implied bias. She was completely biased. And in my appeal hearing, my appeal bond hearing, she even said, have you seen his videos lately? Meaning she was going outside the scope of the case. Judge Ann Zimmerman will face a federal civil rights lawsuit. That's
Good luck.
fact. Judge Ann Zimmerman will face a judicial complaint. And that's what I can do. And she will face the media for the rest of her life. So then it goes on to say here, now I'm down here, it says, therefore,
he didn't represent himself in court. He had a lawyer.
Just past those little subsections here, and then it goes to the bottom, ID at 650. Therefore, a defendant's bare allegation of bias is not sufficient to overcome the presumption that the court is not biased. It's not my bare allegation. It's plain as day. You can see it on video. Unless they show the judge has closed his or her mind to the presentation of all evidence. Cameron versus State. Well, when we went to the appeal bond hearing, the judge didn't want to hear anything that was going to be presented in the appeal bond hearing by my lawyer, Chris Oram. She said, no. All I wanted to do was say I was sorry for name calling during a legal proceeding, because that's not the place to do it. Even if the bailiff was acting like a pig, that's not the place to do it. This court is supposed to be a place where we find justice, not where we hurl insults at one another. On page 17, second to last paragraph, third or fourth line down, appellant's trial counsel filed a bench memorandum which included law that was relevant to his First Amendment claim. So my First Amendment claim was never considered. She never considered that I was a member of the press. And then it says...
she did consider it, and then she said that's not what this case is. So it was considered, you just don't like how it was considered in the determination she came to.
Conclusion here, on page 18 in the conclusion here, the evidence in this case supports the Justice Case's verdict that the appellant had violated obstruction and resisting. Although appellant wants to make the case about the First Amendment, his actions that day were not at all about individual rights, and instead were a deliberate attempt to obstruct, resist, or delay the officers, which is completely inherently false. I just want to comment one more thing on the judicial bias part here, where this Chen and Wolfson are going to try to claim that I agree with the judge. I want to comment on this real fast. So just one more comment here. On page 15 here, when we're talking about judicial bias, Judge Ann Zimmerman says here, and they quote her, when you say he doesn't wish to engage in wrongdoing, it seems to me from observing him in the video, he wants this. He wants to get arrested. He wants to get in an altercation with police officers. He welcomes this. This helps his YouTube channel. He called the officers here in my courtroom today pigs. He called, and he's nodding his head up and down. And the defense...
K.L. Shelley says, attorney here, particularly in a bench trial, it's important to not piss off the judge. As the arbiter of both facts and law, he can't claim ineffective assistance of counsel or judicial bias just because he's an ass. He literally has the judicial bias standards in his complaint, but he's not reading them.
And it says, I
Thank
agree.
you for that input.
I was
like when lawyers show up.
She had run a
That's fun.
kangaroo court. She had let her emotions run amok from beginning to end. But there's tells in here. So just so you know, before the trial began, the first bailiff came up and decided to mess with me, and then the second bailiff, his sergeant or whoever she was.
He wasn't messing with you, he was telling you to get your goddamn feet off the table, you nasty person who puts their feet on the table with fucking shoes on.
But she decided, and it says here, he
or anywhere that isn't your house.
Officers, more than one, in my
I don't even put feet up on my own table.
Courtroom today.
I don't think that's comfortable.
Pigs. That's not true, unless, of course, they conferenced before the court trial began. Because I called the bailiff who snatched the phone out of my hand and searched me, I called him a pig. But the other little copper in there, any interaction that was done with her was done before the trial began. She was biased from the very beginning.
She's not biased. He's claiming that it's biased because she was made aware of his, like, disrespectful behavior. That's not bias. That's literally just knowing your behavior in court, which is her job. She's the judge.
Because she's testifying for me. When you say he doesn't wish to engage in wrongdoing, when you say he doesn't wish to engage in wrongdoing, I'm a First Amendment auditor. I'm not engaging in wrongdoing. I'm engaging in filming police interactions. That's my job as a member of the press. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. I film police. Just like someone runs out to get a soup, whether there's an earthquake or a bridge that collapses,
Reminds me of
or
the
some
song.
famine, or some disaster.
Does anyone know that song? I don't know how popular that song is.
From a tornado.
He's a troglodyte.
What I do is I film cops. You say he doesn't wish to engage in wrongdoing. You're exactly correct. I don't wish to break the law. I wish to be engaged in a First Amendment protected activity. He wants this. He wants to get arrested. Well, to the court. I have over 500 interactions with police. The only place I've ever been arrested for filming cops is in Las Vegas, Nevada. And
You got arrested in Ironton, Ohio as well, like a year or two ago. What are you talking about? And then you fled from that misdemeanor charge.
Don't want to get...
Well, you haven't been back to Ohio because you still have a warrant for failure to appear, I think.
arrested. So at this point, she's making a mockery of the court. She's running a kangaroo court.
Yeah, I'm sure
like
it's
a
her.
Clown. Like an absolute clown. And so I have every right then to mock her and
I
say,
resemble
okay,
that
I agree.
remark.
She's up there testifying on my behalf. It's a joke at this point. Clark County will have to pay me out. The judge should be admonished for this. I wish she could get fired. And he's called my officers pigs. Your officers? It's a joke. This entire
Him and Kat should have a creepy laugh competition. Her and his
response to my appeal is a joke.
Is Chili really this delusional? Yes.
Chen and Wolfson lie in this over and over and over. That copper, when I said, go get in your car and do your job, little doggy, he could have done exactly that. Police officers on any scene are supposed to be able to take a certain amount of significant pushback from the public.
A certain amount of significant pushback is a fun sentence. A certain amount of significant pushback.
Specific words, I can't remember them off the top of my head. So if you're the traditional mainstream media and you're listening to this, when they came for the communists, I said nothing. When they came for the socialists, I said nothing. When they came for the trade unionists, I said...
I was joking when I referenced this poem earlier, like to make fun of how he was treating this. I didn't know he was actually going to directly cite it. This is a poem about the Holocaust.
Nothing. When they came for the Jews, I remained silent. When they came for me, there was no one there to speak up for me. We want to go back to the Sedition Act of 1917, the Espionage Act of 1918, and you want to have those kinds of things upheld? Well, if you allow Wolfson and Chen to print these kinds of lies, that I angrily and that I excitedly said these things to the copper. No, I didn't. I didn't angrily say anything. I was never mad.
He was very mad. He was very mad. He was very, very mad.
100 face-to-face interactions with police. You've never seen me get mad one time.
We've never seen him get mad one time.
I'm allowed to redress government in any form I choose as long as I don't use fighting words. So if the mainstream media, the traditional media, the kept media is going to remain silent on this, who's going to speak up when it's due? And that's my daily update for today, June 17th, 2024. We're 23 days away from the appellate hearing, from the appeal hearing in the district court in front of Judge Michelle Levitt. This case should be overturned. The Nevada State Supreme Court has clearly identified that obstructing is a physical act, and it is protected. Unless you're using fighting words, you cannot be charged with obstruction, and I did not obstruct.
To be clear, when they say physical act, the courts have interpreted physical act to not necessarily mean like an attempted assault. A physical act can be they're trying to put your hands behind your back and you're like not letting them. That is a physical act in obstruction. Let you know. Captain Squid says, please don't print in court that I was mad. At least in Nevada, that's my understanding.
Did not go there with the intent to hinder, delay, or obstruct.
Because you are physically resisting. You get it. Neneline with a €5 super chat says, fun fact, First They Came isn't actually a poem. It's a cleverly phrased anecdote Martin Niemöller recounts every time he needs to.
Or anybody else there. I went there to film the interaction.
I guess I thought of it as a poem because I saw it on the wall of the DC Holocaust Museum, which if you ever get an opportunity, if you're ever in DC, I'd highly recommend it. It's heavy. I wouldn't recommend doing it on a day you plan on doing a bunch of fun stuff after. It's a solemn, like, really hard experience, but the Holocaust Museum in DC is incredibly curated and set up, and the way that it's all put together to show the enormity and the impact of the Holocaust is profound. I would recommend it.
Place and manner is clearly defined. 2:30 in the afternoon, in the middle of a busy parking lot, wearing a bright blue hoodie and announcing out front, I'm a member of the press. I started filming with 2 cameras by the time the interaction was done. It's preposterous on its face. And Wolfson and Chen, you quoted a bunch of cases that are on my side. These cases absolve me. These cases prove that I'm innocent. You even quoted Wilson in here. This is preposterous. All right, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for your support. The Team DLZ.
It's like he's incapable of understanding that the opposition can cite a case and have a different argument or interpretation of the results than he does. It's like he's like, they're bringing up the case that I think exonerates me. I'm so confused. And it's like, you're confused because you don't understand that they're bringing it up to say this could be an interpretation. However, he doesn't understand that his personal interpretation of laws and findings is not universal. So if someone else brings it up in a different way, he doesn't understand that they're using it differently than he's using it. Altered Undying says, hey Hannah, this is what I have so far. I have been asked for a kilt variant, and I plan on doing a Scrubs variant as well. Yeah, this is for the Star Trek thing you're working on. Oh, it didn't open. Hi. There it is. Oh, that's good. I really like that. That's clean. Good design. And then one without the jacket. Let's take a look. Oh, it says content no longer available. For some reason, that link doesn't want to work. First one looks great. Oh. Second link. Woo! I like that. I like that variant too. Nice. Good designs.
Thank you for writing me letters, for getting me those iCare gift packages. I really appreciate it. For donating to my GoFundMes. I really appreciate it. We don't stop. Under any circumstances, under any conditions. Alan, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for putting money on my books. You did it. David, thank you. I appreciate it. Cope Doggy Dog, thank you.
Distinguishing cases? Okay.
I appreciate you, man. So many of you. I got your letters. I got your letter, April. I got your letter, Linda. I got your letter, Carl. I'm not going to remember everybody's letters, but I got a bunch of letters here. Keep sending them. I really appreciate it. All right, I'll let you guys get the flock out of here. 23 days, put it on your calendar, July 10th. And let me just say something to the court here. If you ban my family and my friends from coming in, listen, you're already getting sued. I'm suing them over not letting my family and friends in the court for my appellate bond hearing.
I'd imagine the issue is less the family and more the sovereign citizen friends that are probably going to come in and be incredibly disruptive to the court procedure. Because I've seen when sovereign citizens show up to these things, they cheer and clap and make all sorts of noises that they are absolutely not supposed to make in the courtroom.
Appeal bond hearing. They denied my people access to the court, and the bailiff or whoever it was at the door lied and said, oh, his hearing has already been heard. No, there was a dozen people standing outside.
KL Shelley says, to be clear, the saying, case X doesn't apply because XYZ. Yeah, I knew what you meant. I'm sorry, this guy drives me nuts as someone who's actually taught constitutional law at the collegiate level. But don't you know? He calls himself a constitutional law scholar, so that must mean he knows things. Thank you for the clarification. I did understand what you meant, though.
The lawsuit. You cannot ban people from coming into my public hearing. There's no danger to the court from me. That's preposterous. It's just an absolute despotic government, and this dog shit court system in Clark County, Las Vegas.
Oh, that's good. Call the court system dog shit. I'm sure the appeals court's gonna love that.
It is absolutely dog shit, led by the kangaroo court queen herself.
Also, he a lot of the times, my understanding in like your appeals, even if you have issue with the judge, you're not necessarily going to call out the judge specifically by name. Like, you wouldn't say, corrupt Judge Ann Zimmerman has done such and such. You would say, like, the court. You would try and couch it in objective language, not make it personal, but more about the court and the procedures. But in his appellate brief, he specifically was calling out the judge, like, by name and saying she's, like, biased and bad at her job. And I was like, oh, Chili, that's not gonna read well.
Ann Zimmerman. So she's gonna have to face a federal civil rights lawsuit for what she's done. That's all I can actually do. So, all right, I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry one bit. I'm only sorry that I name called in court. Court is not a place to call names. Court is a place to try to find justice and resolve differences. So, all right, I'm gonna get the flock out of here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, Gators.
Well, that's Chili's update. I am excited for whatever his reaction is going to be when his appeal is either dismissed or denied. Don't know which will come first. Should be interesting. So we are done here for the day. I am going to take about 20-30 minutes to grab some lunch, and then we're going to do the Patreon-only live stream. So if you would like to be there for that, you can join the Patreon at any paid level, and you will get access to the Patreon-only live stream today, but all the VODs from the previous ones. So there's the link if anyone wants that. Altered Undying says, but a woman told him what to do. She must suffer forever. Let's see. Let's do a raid. Get raided Lumi in a while. Cool. Alright, have a great night, everyone. Hope to see patrons at the patron-only live stream soon. Love you, Mr. Blast. And I will see the rest of you tomorrow, hopefully. Don't know what we'll be doing. But it'll be fun, whatever it is. So I'll see you then. Have a great night, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Have yourself a treat. Whatever that means for you. I give you permission. Go have a treat. Alright. Night, everyone.